TikTok, what's up, guys? How's it going? I don't know what happened. For those of you that were on the live that I was just on, I don't know if Chaos got disconnected or what happened. I don't know if he got taken down or what. I was just walking. Chaos got banned. Yeah, I figured. I was just walking to my house, and I was kind of just listening to the back and forth. I was just listening. Jamie, he got banned. Yeah, I thought that might have happened. That's unfortunate. Thanks for going live. Let's talk about Flare. Yeah, so I figured I got a few minutes here, so I figured that we'd have a little fun hangout session this morning.
Hey,
what happened, man?
he got banned again. He always gets fucking banned every time. People just don't understand the content. People just don't understand the content, and they ban him every goddamn time. Now we're gonna all have to do a video to get Chaos's account unbanned again. Every time. I don't mind. I don't mind. This sort of conversation, it's good to have.
I invited the whole gang up in here.
Oh, we're back. We're back. We'll come to... I can't believe your moderator's telling me to get the hell out of your comments, Zach. What the hell? I'm a nice guy. Why are you so aggressive to me? What's going on, moderators?
My moderators are on a shoot to kill order. I'm just kidding. Can
I ask a question? Is Parabolic banned from your lives? Because he won't be able to come back if he is banned.
No, he's not banned. I don't follow him anymore though. So, but he could join as a guest, I guess. Yeah, he could join as a guest.
What's up, Zach, Jamie, Dark Horse? What's up, fellas?
Hey, Ralphie, how are you, mate?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Getting my day started out here.
That's nice.
How many guests can you
What's going on?
Like, my whole screen's full now.
Yeah, you're full now. You won't be able to bring Parrot or Chaos in unless you change your grid view.
4 at a time. Okay.
You're four in this view or 6 in the other multi-guest. You don't do this often, do you? You're more of a YouTube guy. I know.
Well, I used to do more TikTok lives back before I really got started on YouTube, but yeah.
I feel like everybody Zach did go live with back in the day turned out to be like a horrible person, to be honest.
Ralphie knows.
Yeah.
He's an OG.
Yeah, back in the day, he was. Yeah, those characters. I'm glad they're not spoken about anymore.
Yeah. So I don't know where things left off. I just heard Chaos yelling, and then it was over.
Honestly, that guy gets banned more times than I change my boxer shorts, man. Honestly, he's got like 5 accounts, and each one of them get banned on a daily. Jamie, are you ready to do another video so we can repost it and get him unbanned again?
I feel like it will open me up as a target now.
Jamie needs to be put on like a permanent retainer for Chaos.
As much as you kind of like get attacked in those things, you just kind of got to take it. There are certain home truths you got to take, and there are certain things that you just got to kind of understand. He comes from a good place. He just has a weird way of fucking sharing it. I like Lewis, regardless of what he fucking says and what he does. It's just like you, Zach. I like you. I just fucking that buyback. You fucking really got me. But I'm not going to talk about it. Seems to be a hot topic.
Guys, what did I miss?
I do want to ask one question, though, guys, because like from the hours of just like kind of like men being really manly men beating the chest and screaming at each other, like that was really quite sexual in a way, and I quite liked it in a really weird way. But let's move on from that. How can we make it that
Pause.
that was weird? Sorry. I'm a happy married man. Anyway, you know, you and Dark Horse, you clearly.
Not in a homo way, eh, Jamie?
Yeah, not in a home. Anyway, you and Dark Horse, you clearly create content that the XRP community really, really enjoy. And I urge you, this is the last time I'm going to make this urge and this play. Team up. If it's once or twice a month, 3-4 times a month, create some content together. Even if it's half an hour, take it away from TikTok, take it onto a podcast, take it onto a YouTube, and just bash it out because it's for the best for the space.
No, because look, I'm going to see it from Zach's perspective here. I'm a fucking nobody, right? He's the actual original XRP OG, right? Why the fuck would he need to share a platform with a fucking nobody? I'm going to see it from his perspective. And that's the honest truth. And that's exactly what he's thinking in the back of his head too. So I'm quite happy sticking on my line, and Zach can stick on his line. Just understand that we just blew in the middle. And I get it, Zach. Don't worry. Don't fucking worry. I understand that this shit is monetized on YouTube and all that shit. And you got to understand it from the people that call you a shiller, right? Then this is what I said on my live about you, right? You got to understand it from the perspective of the people that follow you, but also think that you're shilling. It's not because you shill a product or you shill XRP or you shill this. They're calling you a shiller because you say these things, but then you've got the paid Discord, you've got the affiliate links, you've got the gold, the silver, and everything else. So from their perspective, that's what you're shilling. That's it. That's what they're calling you out on. They all know that you don't shill the promotions and everything else. I mean, you've been pretty blatant about that for the last 2 years or so. So it's not that they're calling you a shiller for. It's the fact that you do the 50K buyback shit, and then straight away in your live, you're like, come join my Discord, come do this. And yeah, that's the reason why those people in my live were calling you a shiller.
That's all right.
I just missed the walks in the walks in the forest, Zach. That's the main thing.
My man.
Can Chaos go live? Can Chaos go live? Is Chaos got the ability to go live?
Appreciate that prosperity.
He's been banned.
The OG sessions, the OG TikToks in the woods were the best. I miss my old place for that reason. It's because I could just walk out my back door and go make the TikToks in the woods. That was a classic moment in time.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm just curious because we have like a nice little round table here. What is everyone's initial price prediction? I feel like a lot of people are thinking like when they get price predictions on this stuff, and this is obviously not financial advice. You know, this is just, I'm just curious
50K.
what everyone's thoughts are.
50K.
No, I'm talking about even if you're a believer of one of these like elongated theories or whatever, and I'm not here to whatever because you know you never know with what's going on. But I'm kind of more focused on the initial price prediction because I think that's the first place that people will think about liquidity exits. And I'm just curious, like, what are people thinking? Are they thinking, you know, because we're in a bear market, it's going to go to $2? Are we thinking all-time highs $3.50? Do they think it's going to double or triple the all-time high? Like, what are most people realistically thinking initially? Like, if they win, if they relist, you know, things like that.
I'll start. I think that the Fibonacci retracements stretched out take us up to like $7-8. I'm pretty sure is what I've seen. And so for me, yeah, I think $7 to $13 is kind of initial breakout for me when we really get out of the case and set free. Ralphie, what do you think? Ralphie's a trader, so he might have a little bit better technical analysis.
Okay, I was mute. I'm not looking at anything past all-time high to start off with. I want to see us break all-time high, and then I'll be able to kind of put my mind in that state where I could see something further than that. Right now, I'm just looking at all-time high. I'll be taking profits way before that. I'm kind of a trader in that sense where I'm going to be taking profits and buying back in. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to put too much emphasis on that.
Yeah, that's a good approach. That's a really good approach, actually, because like, is things going to be shaking out a lot of people on the way up? I think What do you think?
People have been holding XRP for a long time. I'm one of those people. I'm ready to take profits. I'm ready to make money on my XRP. Obviously, that's certain percentages of my bag, right? Where at all-time high, I'll take 30% of my bag, sell it. If it drops back down, I'll buy back in. But it's certain percentages at certain times.
Yeah. What do the other guys think? We got Jamie and Dark Horse.
Yeah, I think for me, there's many factors to consider when it comes to this. I think Ralphie correctly alludes to that. There's been a hell of a lot of people patient for a long time, and I think when people get that initial pump from the hype around the settlement, not even the settlement happening, people will clearly take profits off the table. I don't think that the settlement is going to come to everybody's expectations. I think there'll be regulations that come alongside that, which counteract the price movement of it. I think you also need to counteract then, what is the supply of tokens that are available on the open market if there is a hint of some form of agreement within the court case. And then the final thing that I would like to allude to, well, there's another one actually, so I'll put that other one first. Chart analysis for me, when a community is so hyped on frankly, Zach Rector trumping or farting, they get excited and they go and buy a load of tokens. It's impossible to do any form of chart analysis on XRP, in my opinion. There is great buy opportunities when you look at the chart, if you dollar cost averaging into it. But for me, I don't see great opportunities when I look at the chart to put or quantify a great price as to where it could go in the future. Finally, I think the XRP community do itself a disservice by expecting the Americans, the SEC to clearly hold the fort for the XRP community. XRP is an international token available in countries all around the world. One country is not going to make or break it, but it has the ability to absolutely rock it out. And I think you should celebrate the work that they're doing, across the whole world, frankly, not just America. Focus on the utility, what they're doing, and not on some stupid court case that may not go your way.
So for me, that court case it's going to create FOMO. It's going to create FOMO. I reckon it's going to shoot up to around about $1.20 after the FOMO. That's where I see it going, with so many people jumping in because they think it's going to go to the moon, and then it's going to come back down because of everything that we've found. It's going to go to around about 45, 50 cents. It's going to sit there for quite a long time. The problem you've got is most of the actual XRP itself. We all saw what happens when they accidentally plug the market maker into the private ledgers with the glitches, right? The transaction volumes go insane, which is where the value of XRP will start going up. That's when we're going to start seeing a price increase. So as soon as we see more central banks actually utilizing the XRPL and starting increasing the volumes, then we're going to be looking at around about 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8. But that's a time away for the actual HODL to be actually used and the transactions to be pushed through.
I want to chime in here and say this, guys, to all the listeners. Recognize that these guys are ready to dump on us. Listen to these guys. Ralphie, he's nodding. He can't wait. He cannot wait. These guys are going to dump on us.
Paper hands for profits right here. Paper hands for profits.
Yeah. So because I just want to make the point, and I'm not bashing you guys for that.
No, I know.
Profit's great. But this is why XRP is going to move violently, right? The FOMO is going to come in. There's so many factors, right? And then there's going to be major pullbacks. So be ready. You guys know Prosperity Fund has a massive bag of XRP. So, these guys are going to come in. They're going to dump on us, which is fine. You guys, and you guys aren't dumping on us. You're taking profits. But this is why I want to be clear. I do think there's going to be major pullbacks. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Dark Horse.
Ralphie's original joke was, because we hodl for quite a long time, was we're the liquidity for the traders to be able to take the liquidity out. So we're the liquidity. The hodlers for the traders are the liquidity.
I mean, some would say we're smart investors taking our profits off the table, and each individual circumstances, a 2-3x might be happy days, and it depends where you bought it. So if you take a 2x or 3x in this market, then bloody fair play to you. You've done a great job. Take your money. And for a lot of people that buy XRP, being honest, and let's not fall in love with XRP too much, they might not actually believe in its utility. They might believe in its price value in the future, and that's absolutely okay, because that is the way the space is.
Well, and we're in a recession. We're in a bear. This is tough out here. People, it's tight. And so, yeah, I agree. And I don't knock anybody that has an exit strategy to sell all of their XRP at $10 or whatever. Like, people are in a different position than me. You know, some people are 65 years old trying to retire, right? But back up to you, Prosperity Fund. I want to know what price you're going to first be selling at, because that's going to be one of the first pullbacks with your big bags.
I would just say that, listen, I have my fund owns bags, and this is not financial advice, and then that's for accredited investors only, and then I have my own personal bag. But I would just say that, I'm definitely looking to take a portion off the table at the initial FOMO run, and then I would keep a significant portion for the future, because the reality of the situation is you don't necessarily know when these utilities are going to be announced. Like, for example, if they win the lawsuit, there already could be people in the banking system that are willing to announce CBDC usage, but only after they win the lawsuit. So you might think, oh, it's just an initial FOMO, and then it's going to drop back down, just like the airdrop for Flare, just like anything else. But it could actually be that it actually doubles and triples up as more and more things get announced. So I think I have to see how it plays out. I'm definitely gonna take a little bit. I'll probably take off like what I initially spent out, so I'm just all bags in. But all the profits I'm gonna leave in pretty much. So if it hits like whatever. That's my expectation. My expectation is try to get out at least my initial cost. Everything is free money. It's house money. It's like you go to the poker tables, it's house money. And then house money can make a lot of money over time. And I'm willing to hold. I'm just telling you right now, I am willing to hold, not definitively, but till 2025 is where I see my initial exit, and 2030 is my second exit. So I have a much macro and longer term view than a lot of people who are just trying to trade. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, I'll just sell and then it'll dump. And then when it dumps, I'll just rebuy it back cheap. The answer is, but you don't necessarily know that it's going to do that. It might do that, but it also could just start, they could start saying, okay, this CBDC is going to be announced. All these banks that use RippleNet will start to use ODL now that ODL is cleared for use. So that's kind of like my thought process on that. But I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts.
Ralphie?
It always comes back down.
Hey, don't say that. Ralphie, you're not allowed to say that.
It always comes back down. It always does. It always does. Go ahead, Dark Horse. I'm sorry.
No. Keep going, Ralphie. I'm agreeing with you. It'll come back down. After the FOMO, the court case, there is no actual... What changes in the utilization of Ripple after the court case ends? What changes? NDA agreements are finally ended with the US. The ability to actually start developing in the US will start actually happening because they're allowed to actually disclose it. But all in all, who's actually using RippleNet at the minute the court case ends? Nobody. The banks have got to go through auditing, they've got to go through testing phases, they've got to go through development, they've got to go through project applications, they've got to then go get it all certified by the bank, by the government, they've got to go through SOX compliance, they've got to go through all the red tape.
To be fair, 75% of RippleNet clients are not using XRP because they don't have clarity. So 75% of RippleNet customers and partners could just flip the switch and start using on-demand liquidity XRP the day the case is over, right? So I mean, that's kind of just your opinion that nothing's going to change, right? It will change. Bank of America just said at Ripple Swell Conference just recently, they are waiting for the case to be over so they can specifically use XRP for a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So that's one example, pretty big one, of an institution bank that will flip the switch as soon as the case is over. And the other point to make is we don't know how much XRP Bank of America actually owns or what deal they've cut out with Ripple for pre-allocation. So once again, we'll see what happens. But I do think that we are going to see quite a few, after the case is over, you would expect that a lot of these RippleNet clients start using on-demand liquidity with XRP because of the advantages that they would have.
But why aren't they using it now? This is the point. This is the
because
point
of the lawsuit. That's the whole point. Yeah. If you go to the Dark Horse, if you go to the website and you see on RippleNet like who's using it, you can see there's like hundreds of countries that use RippleNet, and only a few countries that are using the ODL product. Why is that? Because they are waiting for the clarity on XRP, because they're working its whole point is cross-border remittances. So they want the freedom to transact in the biggest economy in the world, which is the United States. So from my perspective, if they clear it, I think a lot more of the RippleNet, well, that's what I'm betting on. It's not financial advice, but a lot more of the RippleNet customers, some have indicated they would use it more, and some it's just obvious, right? They're not going to put themselves in a situation. So right now they have their different countries that with their different corridors, and those are always popping up. But it's a lot more money would be flowing through those corridors, and more corridors would open up if they win. That's my assessment, and that's what I'm betting on long term, but not financial advice. To the moon!
But okay, so if you actually take what you're saying, right? So all the NDA agreements and everything else are being proposed, and I did say that when I said that when this court case ends, then people will release the NDA agreements. But the problem you've got is the rest of the world already doesn't give a crap what the US actually does, and they've already employed Ripple. They've already got the central banks already actually tying in the projects already. So when you're talking about these corridors and everything else, the only thing that we're missing is the US addition to the rest of the world. And why aren't they actually using it now? Why are they not actually utilizing the XRPL right now? The answer is they are. They are using it. They're testing it. They're in a test phase. It takes ages to actually go through all the things that I've just said. So while everything's just sitting there, while this court case is going through, there is action going on. The private ledgers are being utilized by the banks. They're doing all the testing. Everybody knows that they're testing, but the actual transactions and everything aren't being used yet.
So why would you say that nothing's going to happen after the case is over if you are just saying now that everyone's trying and piloting the ledger now? Why would you say that nothing's going to happen after the case?
Well, no, I said it'll go up after the case because of the FOMO. Everybody will jump in, and then I said it will go down to an average around about 45, 50, which is more than what it is now. It'll have a little bit because of the news of the NDA agreements, but until they actually start utilizing the ODL, where they see the transactions going through, then it won't actually do much. It won't actually do much until that actually happens. There's far too much XRP out there. There's far too much to class as a rarity.
You're just saying that right after the case is over, like very short-term time frame after the case is over, people aren't going to start flipping the switch, and we're not going to see utility ramp up yet. You're saying it'll take time.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be expecting this to be a HODL for. Personally, I'm expecting a HODL for another 2 years before the ODLs actually start being implemented 100% with the banks, and they start actually utilizing it with the transactions. That's always been my thought process on this, because of the way the software implementation actually happens. Because at the end of the day, guys, this is software. They're going to parallel run it against what they've currently got. Swift is not going to just all of a sudden die. They'll still keep using Swift alongside. Most companies, if you bring in new software into their environment, what they'll do is they'll parallel run the old system alongside of the new system to make sure that they're getting the same checks and balances, getting the same audit traces. They'll do their comparisons. They'll see which one's more effective, efficient. They'll do the whole risk case analysis. They'll do the stress testing. They'll do all of this on that software. And then when they're finally ready, they'll turn off the parallel running, and then they'll start using it. That's exactly what you should expect with the XRPL. That's just software. That's just software project running.
I totally hear you. I think the one thing that people need to recognize is that this is like a two-stage process, which is that first you have if they win the lawsuit or settle, then you have the relisting, and then you have the utilization. And within that, there's two stages that are going to happen. There's the retail, which is the regular people that buy on exchanges. Those people are going to have a pump, and then the retail who are like more experienced retail, they're going to basically dump. And that's what I think Crypto Ralphie was referencing. But I think that the institutions and the big money, they might take a little bit off the table, or they might not take anything off the table. Wait till it drops from this, retail pump and dump, initial pump and dump. Then they're going to scoop it all up if they don't already have pre-allocations from Ripple. And then by 2025, they are going to be starting to use that en masse, and they can buy it up for super cheap. So that's kind of how I see it. Like, I do agree with this initial delay for the institutions, because they want to buy it cheap. Why would they buy it at a higher rate right now? They can wait for everyone to pump it until $3 or whatever, or $5, let it drop down to whatever it is, $1, and then they can scoop it up at that price and then start using it. And then all the people who sold it at $3 thinking they were so smart are going to be like, shoot, I could have had it at 5 or 10 or 20. You know, that's what I think. So
Ralphie's about to get burned.
not financial
That's
advice.
That's all right. Listen, I feel like, I don't know, I'm biased to XRP. I feel like it's the exception of like anything that goes on with me mentally when it comes to trading. Could I get burned? Yes, but I'm gonna stick with my strategy. It hasn't. No one's ever gone broke taking profits,
Yeah. And to that point, Ralphie, it's so true because when you apply technical analysis, fundamental analysis to the rest of the crypto space, you can do that, and you can figure out and try to predict where these cryptos are going. With this staged SEC lawsuit, I call it staged SEC lawsuit, but we don't know. Like anything could happen, and so it's put XRP in kind of this unknown no man's land where you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to be able to buy it back from the exchange. So I think to that point, someone was saying earlier that Jamie was saying that he doesn't think that you can even really apply technical analysis to XRP. I just think that there's so many unknowns and different variables around this XRP case that make it a difficult one to approach with just a technical analysis perspective, which I think is why you're saying, Ralphie, that you have, it's the one exception for you, because otherwise you're just a trader, right? But this XRP case is a whole different can of worms.
See, the problem you got with your technical analysis is that due to the recent findings from the SEC, we know that what they did during 2013 to 2019, right? We know that there was market makers they were selling the XRP to keep the price at a stable level. You try and put a graph over that. I don't care what sort of analysis you're going to do. You're not going to come out with anything of value because it's actually a rigged first starter. So you can put any graph analysis over the first few years. It ain't going to make any sense to you when you're looking at the outcome coming out now. That's what I'm saying. Your TA analysis is going to be worth dog shit because it's been manipulated from the get-go.
Zach, could you do me a favor? Because I've seen this around. I've seen this question and I haven't known how to answer it in the way that I've heard you answer it. And Prosperity Fund too. Is XRP centralized? And if it's not, if it is, why is it centralized? If it's not, why is it not centralized?
No, Ripple only runs like 4 validators that confirm the network. So there's over 100 validators that confirm the network. Ripple only runs like 4 of them, I believe, at this time. So the validation process, the consensus network, is decentralized. The supply, that's a different story. The supply is not, it's Ripple owns the most. Ripple owns the most.
They do.
Yep.
Right. But the network itself is decentralized.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to look into the consensus, right? Because there's usually like super minorities, super majorities, and they have a different weight system. So I'll take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. So crypto Ralphie, I totally think you have a very good question, and I've tried in many videos to explain this to people about at least my understanding of it. But if you go to like xrpl.org, they give you a lot of really good information. And if you really dig through that website, you'll be able to find a lot more info. But from what I understand, Ripple is a centralized company and XRPL is a decentralized cryptocurrency that's global. Now, who are the validators? Well, let's just stop for a second. People need to understand that just because XRP is not Bitcoin doesn't mean it's proof of stake. A lot of people say, well, since Ripple owns 50% of the XRP, therefore they have complete control over it. It's centralized. It's this. But you have to understand, it's not the coin that does the centralization. It's not a proof of stake. It's not a proof of stake mechanism. It's a federated Byzantine agreement mechanism, which means that it uses consensus based off of 80% of the validators. Now, these validators, like Zach was saying, only like 5% are actually run by Ripple. Then people will argue, well, there's something called the UNL, unique node lists. And those are just recommendations by, let's say, Ripple, Coil, and a few other companies about which are the top validators to use. But it's not a requirement, and you can use any validator theoretically that you want. at the end of the day, though, if 80% of the validators, which are a lot of them are colleges and universities and other people, if they decided that they wanted to burn Ripple's 50 billion escrow, they could do that and Ripple couldn't say boo. That shows you that the real control, the voting control, is amongst the 80% of validators. And that's why I think XRP is actually better than Bitcoin in a certain sense, because with Bitcoin, yes, they have these more decentralized validators, miners across the world, but their mining pools, like 50%, is basically two companies mining pools. And if you have a 51% attack on Bitcoin, you can basically like change transactions. You can do all this crazy stuff. Now, I don't know if that would happen, but theoretically it could happen. And the problem is with the XRP, you need 80%. So it's harder to make an attack on XRP because you need 80% of the validators than it is on Bitcoin with 51%. And that's why if you watch one of the videos I did on the DARPA report, it shows that you can take down Bitcoin with like for a few points of failure. And that's super critical. So you need to understand validators control XRP and not the amount of staking. There's no staking with XRP. You might be able to lend your XRP and get a yield, but there's no actual staking. So the amount of XRP you have doesn't provide control. It might provide selling pressure, but it doesn't provide the actual control on the ledger. And therefore, XRP, in my opinion, is more decentralized than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's basically using five major mining pools, and XRP has 35, 135, whatever it is, 150 validators and a few unique node lists. So that is my understanding of XRP. That's why I think it's a safer bet. Now, that's if they win the lawsuit. I think if they win the lawsuit, you have to remember XRP was created to be a better Bitcoin. So do I hold Bitcoin? Yes. Do I hold Ethereum? Yes. I mean, not right now, but yes. I hold maybe ERC20 tokens. I'm mostly in cash, guys. I'm waiting for a downturn, so just heads up. But I'm just telling you, like I kind of see as like a short pump, and we might go back down to like, who knows, 10 to 14K, maybe 6K. It really depends on if Digital Currency Group gets liquidated. If they get liquidated, and then you add that 600,000 Bitcoin, then you have Mt. Gox is another 150,000 Bitcoin. And then you have all these other players, Gemini and whatever. If they all start going down, you're going to see crazy low prices. So I'm keeping 75% of my money in cash because I want to buy it cheaper. It's not because I don't believe in it. That's my thought.
Prosperity. So in terms of your consensus and the 51%, you might want to go and have a look at what the 51% attack actually is. Crypto never sleeps. He's right. There's a bit of a difference between, it's just written exactly. Worst possible explanation of 51% on decentralization. Now, also, Crypto Never Sleeps also thinks the whole XRP is centralized. So anyway, I agree with the fact that XRP is it's a centralized, right? It's got to maintain the HODL. So there is a certain centralized position in that and got to control the XRPL itself and to be able to actually report back to the FinCEN and any sort of regulatory board for MLA. So there is a certain amount of centralization within inside of the actual decentralized system, but in saying that makes it kind of a centralized system in just that acknowledgement alone. So there is the trifecta of crypto, right? You can't be scalable and security and what was the other one against? It's
decentralized.
Decentralized. You can't be all three perfectly. So thank you, Ralphie. You can't be all three perfectly. And to me, decentralized is the one that RippleNet isn't actually 100% decentralized. But it has to be that way because the banks are going to need to be able to look at it, and they're also going to need to be able to run the money laundering systems. They're going to have to run the terrorism funding systems, and they've got to let the banks be able to recognize all of that information that's going through it as well. So it requires a bit of centralization just for that fact alone.
But we have to understand, like, at the end of the day, XRP Ledger is it is decentralized. Like, point blank, end of discussion. XRP Ledger is decentralized. And
the nodes, some of them.
No, the network's completely decentralized. Like, it's just RippleNet's a product of Ripple. People are building on top of the XRP Ledger, which actually proves it's decentralized. Like all of the meme coins that were built on it, the NFTs that are now coming to it. Nobody's asking Ripple for permission to build their shitcoin on the XRP Ledger. They just do it because it's decentralized. So that's what I mean. Is like, you can get into the nuances of, Ripple controls a lot of the supply. Yes. RippleNet on-demand liquidity, is it a centralized product? Well, it's a product for their businesses and clients. So yeah, the XRP ledger is completely decentralized, though.
I will say I'm not going to show anything. I'm not going to say the name of the project. I'm not going to say anything. But there's an NFT project with my name on it on the XRP network. And I'm not going to even say anything else other than that.
See?
And I was able to do it. We were able to do it.
You didn't have to ask Ripple. You didn't have to do, you just built it. Yeah.
Not saying the name. I'm not making a video. I'm not letting my dojo know. I'm not letting anybody know because I'm not going to be deemed the fucking shill. But guess what? It's 80% sold out. We just did nothing like 2 weeks ago. XRP community is strong. I'll tell you that.
You're going to have to pay for that plug.
I got you, Zach.
I need you to send me 100 XRP.
I mean, 100 XRP at 50K is a lot of money, Zach.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, I got one more question because it's something that comes up all the time. It's like, it's like okay, what do we say to this? The Genesis blocks.
Okay, I actually asked ChatGPT this morning about the said Genesis blocks. I actually asked ChatGPT, would you like to know the answer, Ralphie?
Yeah, I would love to, actually. I would love to.
I was having a laugh with it this morning. So now it's the time for my computer to. It's basically said that due to the way that the actual consensus system works within the RippleNet, the Genesis block is actually not important to the actual RippleNet itself. So bear with me, let me scroll up.
I'll say this while you're looking that up. There was something interesting that I heard Zach say back in the day when this came up, was that even if those blocks were to come back or they wanted to create tokens or whatever, you would still need to vote on that. It would need to be put up for vote, right?
So, yeah. So it says here, Ripple's XRP ledger does not have a Genesis block because it is not based on the traditional blockchain model. Instead, it uses a consensus mechanism known as the Ripple Protocol Consensus Algorithm, RPCA, to validate transactions on a network. The RPCA allows for the XRP ledger to reach consensus on the state of the ledger without relying on a chain of blocks linked through cryptography. Instead, it uses a network of trusted nodes to validate transactions and reach consensus at the state of the ledger. It does not need the missing blockchain that everybody seems to be so scared of. Yes, and what is stored in the original blockchain, the starting point? And I asked ChatGPT that, and the answers came out to be basically who owns all the crypto, what date it started, the transaction starting point. But in all, if they all of a sudden made another 100 billion without us knowing, that would kind of shock the system. So I doubt very much that they would allow that to happen. But yeah, crypto never ceases raises that Genesis issue, but it's not actually a problem for the XRPL. And the fact that the information provided inside of it is actually readily available. If you actually wanted to, I think you can ask Ripple to actually see the Genesis block, because I think on their website they allow you to actually investigate it. They just can't put it on. Okay. Just can't fix it back.
I like it. Crypto Never Sleeps will have something to say about that answer.
Yeah, he's calling me, but that's complete bullshit. Tell you what, Sleeps, go and argue with ChatGPT.
Have him pop up. Does he want to join?
Oh, he'll probably warn them. Well, trust me.
Yeah, he's
I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere on xrpl.org. I was trying to find it. They do have like an explanation of the Genesis blocks. I think it was like 32 something, but they basically came out and said that it wasn't really relevant for like actual current usage, and it was like a technical thing in the beginning because they were just a new blockchain. But I don't really care. I don't really care what happened 10 years ago. I care about making money now and in 2025 and in 2030. That's my goal.
Yeah, you're resonant. ChatGPT had that information because that information about the lost Genesis block is from 2014, 2015, mate.
So I see ChatGPT is obviously taking cues from Brad Garlinghouse.
Whoa.
If that's not the most biased comment that I've ever heard you read on a single live, I mean,
Brad, but that's the thing though, is Brad didn't create the XRP ledger. It was David, Arthur, and Jed.
So if we have any biases about XRP, our source is going to be the actual company that we're actually trying to disprove it from. So if I want to know about a Genesis block, not just the Genesis block, but 30,000 blocks past the Genesis. We're not just talking about the Genesis, which is zero, which is block 0. We're talking about 30,000 blocks after that.
Yeah, and as we were saying, if that were to reappear, come an issue, the validators could just like mute those. Like, and that would be of the benefit of all of the XRP community. Like, if that 30,000 Genesis blocks were about to reappear and cause an issue, 80% consensus would be reached, and they would just mute them out or do whatever they had to do to make that not an issue.
And let me just make this clear: I'm not saying that XRP does not have utility. I'm not saying that at all. I was just pointing out a fact. Like, out of 23,000 cryptocurrencies, how many cryptocurrencies are missing 30,000 blocks?
99% of cryptos are scams anyway, so and no utility anyway. So I mean,
right. But I'm asking a specific question: out of 23,000 cryptocurrencies, how many are missing Genesis or 30,000 blocks after the Genesis?
I don't know how many others there are, but I know that like Bitcoin's been forked so many times. I mean, things happen to these networks all the time. You know,
like that. I mean, to where Genesis blocks just go completely missing.
I mean, out of 20,000 cryptos, out of 20,000 cryptos that are out there, there's only about 300 that actually have a real product. The rest are just dust in the wind. Number one. Number two, out of 20,000 products that are out there, it doesn't matter what platform you get on TikTok, Twitter. It doesn't matter. There's 2 to 3 cryptos that are talked about, and XRP is one of them.
Nice.
Everywhere.
Well, nice way to deflect, Ralphie.
I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why people are interested in XRP. There's a reason why people investigate XRP. I don't have the answer.
So where did the whole ISO 222 bullshit come from?
Well, that's just the messaging standard that's being updated. There already was a standard before. This is just the new one that's being updated. And it's just a messaging standard in the protocol, right?
But how did that get associated with XRP or XLM or the 8 coins or tokens that are associated with it?
Because Ripple is making RippleNet on-demand liquidity using XRP ISO compliant.
Yo, Bitcoin just went nuts.
And there's not a single document that actually...
Holy
shit. The compliance is all the way up until now 2024, isn't it? But that actual
it depends what group. It depends what group. Yeah, Bitcoin did.
I'm gonna put it in the chat, guys. It's right here. On XRP, missing Genesis block. It gives you the information.
Yeah, it does. That's right.
It doesn't.
But if you're looking at the on the XRPL RippleNet website, it'll also tell you that David Schwartz also tried to reattach the Genesis block, but found he couldn't. But that's what I'm saying. On that website, it also says that if you've got any concerns or queries about it, please email me. Well, email them. Don't email me about the Genesis block. Email Steeps if you want to find out more about the Genesis block. That's his go-to.
That solves it. I mean, it's on the XRP website. It must be true.
Mate, you're gonna have to go and argue with ChatGPT, man. You're gonna have to go and actually go and rip it apart, see if you can actually break it.
Yeah, let me go ask an AI coded by humans, like, which one is better, Bitcoin or XRP?
And Miss Patriot, you're asking about if the escrows are good. The escrows are bad. There's 50 billion tokens that are due to be put into circulation. If they actually get utilized by the ODL, that's great. But then that, again, if it gets put into the ODL, means that XRP doesn't actually need to go up any further in price. The more XRP tokens they've got for the ODL, the cheaper the XRP only needs to be. but there is a base price that you can go to with the ODL, with XRP, which kind of makes the ODL defunct, which is around about 15 to 20 cents.
See, this is the
But
problem that I have with some of the statements that you make, Dark Horse, is you just
okay,
come on and you just blanket statement, escrow's bad. Bro, you don't know what deals Ripple has done. Who are you to say that the escrow's bad? That's end of discussion, guys. Bro, you're not at the table with Ripple and the banks.
having 50 billion locked up, ready to drop onto the actual network itself, that is pretty bad, though, isn't it?
Not when you're solving trillion-dollar problems. You need a lot of tokens. You need a higher value. And
so explain the bandwidth calculation, or sorry, you call it something else, but explain that calculation where having more XRP equals better.
no,
Because by my analysis, less XRP means price action increases.
right. That's
More XRP means price action decreases.
yeah, that's just a function of supply and demand. But the point is Ripple has been only selling the escrow since 2019 to on-demand liquidity partners. So they're literally only giving it to people that are using XRP for utility, cross-border payments, treasury flows, actually using XRP. They're not selling it to exchanges for me and you to trade, to hold. So that's XRP that's being utilized. So yeah, like, do I wish that we only had 10 billion XRP? That'd be cool. That'd be nice. But the use case, the problems that they're solving are so damn big that I don't think that the supply is going to be an issue because of the demand and because of the liquidity value that's needed.
Yeah, but your argument there kind of like it kind of runs against your other argument of worth $10,000 in all of this like option 3 stuff, right? Because if you flood the market with another 50 billion on the ODL and each token is worth what, 50 cents? If you flood another 50 billion, it's worth, so that means it's got $25 billion it can flood every 4 seconds on the ODL. So the way that you really want to be looking at this is the less XRP out there, the more actually disappears, the more consensus that you remove, the higher XRP needs to be able to deal with that higher volume of all the money, as you guys keep calling it, going through that Ripple net, right? Because like what was it David Schwartz said? Why use 1 million tokens to move $1 million when you can just use one token to move 1 million? But the price action of that would require less XRP to get it to that sort of ability. So the least amount of money in the escrows and the least amount of money actually in the circulation and just actually on the ODL would increase the price value of XRP. So that what you're saying is kind of flying in the face of, if you want to get to that 10,000 XRP, you are going to need to get rid of shitload of XRP tokens and increase the price for the ODL to be able to reach 10K per XRP.
Yeah, my problem is the blanket statement that the escrow's bad from you. Like for me, I'm sharing my opinion on what Ripple's doing with the escrow. I'm saying that they're only giving it to their on-demand liquidity partners, right? Where you're coming in and you're just saying that it's bad. And I don't think that that's the right way to talk about these things, because to the new people that are coming in, they hear you say that and they think, oh gosh, wow, there's so much escrow, the price could never go up, right? Instead of like actually looking at what Ripple's doing with the escrow, looking at what Ripple's doing with the XRP, looking at how much the on-demand liquidity is growing. So that's my problem, is that you can't just come in and say it's bad when you're not at the table with Ripple, which neither am I, right? But I'm just saying, like, to make blatant, like, point of fact statements about things like that, I think mislead.
Brandon, I'm not a trader. I'm so far off being a trader, it's unreal. I do not know half the shit of trading. But what I do know is the fact of when you're looking at the XRP tokens itself, when they take it out of the escrow and they sell it to the ODL, those ODL users have the ability to either sell it back to the open market freely or to keep it themselves. Now that's been proven already. But when you actually look at the amount of XRP that they're taking off of the system, off of the exchanges themselves, Ripple is, now that they're taking and they're trying to create a squeeze on the XRP that's available on the exchanges right now. But if you think they're going to constantly have that 50 billion locked up, they're going to have that 50 billion locked up ready to drop. I mean, everybody knows tokenomics, right? Everybody knows
But they
tokenomics.
can never
You have
drop
more
all of
out
it at
there.
once. They can
No,
never drop all
because
of it at once.
it's every month, isn't it?
Yes.
And to be fair, the original 55 escrow wallets themselves, they've actually disappeared, and it's now, what are we now? 59th, no, 60th month, and they've put back pretty much 90% of it into new wallets to be released every month as well. So I know what you're saying, Zach. It's just tokenomics in itself. Everybody knows that the more you flood the market with, the least amount of price value you're going to get. That's why I say it's bad, but
well, like I said,
everybody's thought process.
Yeah, like I said in my interview with Jimmy, we were looking at the current rate that the escrow is getting released at, and it would take about 25 years from basically 2020 was when it was calculated. So from 2020, it would take about 25 years for all of the XRP to come into circulation if they kept releasing it at the same rate, which is about 1/3. It's about 1/3 of the escrow gets released every month. The rest gets returned back to the escrow accounts and locked up for another 55-month period. So at the current rate, we still have another 20 plus years to go. So the supply shock isn't going to come in from Ripple just dumping on us one day. And Ripple's not incentivized to do that either. See, Ripple's incentivized to see XRP price go up. So to assume or to assert that they're going to do something that would negatively impact XRP, it just doesn't make sense to me when you look at their incentives.
No, but what it does do, though, you got see. This is where I think me and you differ with the way that we're looking at the calculations. So when I'm looking at the actual XRPL and I'm looking at the ODL, and I'm looking at how much Ripple owns. So let's pretend let's just say there's 50 billion tokens out there, 50 billion XRP tokens out there, and we own as retail 20 billion of them. Ripple owns 30 billion in terms of the ODL, and let's take 10 billion out of that list that's not ODL, that's actually owned by Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, right? So let's say Ripple actually owns 20 billion for its ODL. Then when you look at the 20 billion it owns for its ODL and it keeps buying back for the ODL, the more it increases the ODL size and keeps buying back from retail, the actual XRP token doesn't actually need to increase in price to be able to deal with more money. Now, it's when you start talking about all the money, that's the reason why I've been screaming at you, where's the facts, where's the information? Because how much money are we talking? I mean, are we talking quadrillions? I mean, how much are we talking per month, per day?
Adam. Let's see what Adam has to say.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
How's it going, Adam?
So I have really bad news for the XRP community.
Oh God, kick him. Let's kick him. Get him out of here.
I'm sorry. Trust me, I'm heartbroken just as much as you are. So I'm going to do a video next week, kind of breaking everything down. But unfortunately, XRP will not be the one used for cross-border payments.
Oh God, here we go.
Zach, I'm sorry. Trust me, I'm an XRP maxi just like you, but I still think it will have its use case after the lawsuit, and I still think you'll be making tons of money off of it.
Let's explain. You've been meeting with the suits, and now Adam thinks he's part of the elite.
Well, something like that. So I'm flying out to New York to meet with the elites, and they have created their own coin that will be used for their cross-border payments.
Oh my gosh. Do we have to buy your Discord group to get the coin?
No. You don't have to do any of that stuff to get it.
Out of interest, Adam, the coin itself, right? The reason why I asked this, if they've created their own coin and they create their own DLT, the coin itself is to create liquidity for the transfer itself, right?
Yeah. So the way it's going to work is they're going to have a stable coin. You'll have to buy the certain coin to get the stable coin for cross-border payments, but it's backed by over $1 trillion of gold.
It makes sense, yeah. So does that mean the stable coin itself will be nationally recognized within the banking structure as a stable coin for everybody? So that would technically become a stable coin for the reserves, right?
Correct.
Interesting.
Where is this information coming from, Adam?
can't divulge it. I will next week. I'm doing a video on it. I did sign an NDA, Zach, so I can't just go sign it.
We got to subscribe to Adam's YouTube channel.
No, I don't have a YouTube channel. Fuck off.
Monetize that shit.
Get you a red folder.
See, your screen's black now, Zach. For some reason, TikTok's gone black. It's not mine. I can't see it. It's black.
I think that's just you. I still see myself.
I know, mate. I know. It's when Adam jumped in, the screen went black.
No, it's fine for me. It's fine for me.
It's that UK connection, bro. You guys got to get your game up.
I know.
I'm interested to hear more about this and see who these elites actually are.
Adam is teasing us right now. Adam, give us the real truth about this.
I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not. Do you guys remember, if you know history at all, do you remember how they started the Federal Reserve? All the banks met in secret, and they're doing the same thing with crypto.
So this is kind of what Parabolic was saying. They literally got 7 developers in a room, fed them caffeine, and said, "Build it yourselves."
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
How did Adam get in there?
This is Adam's world, though. I spoke with Adam before. I was wondering why I recognized him. He was talking about this last time on one of the lives. Like say, look at all areas, right? Look at all areas. The problem with Tacit, when Crypto Never Sleeps kept talking about Tacit, was it was great for interbanking, which is where the 500 billion transactions were coming from with the interbank connections. That's where Tacit is going to be amazing, because you can use a blockchain without a token. You don't need to create liquidity. But when you put in cross-border payments, you need liquidity. You need something to have that value all the way through the chain.
Here's what I'm going to say is people say, oh, the elite are going to make their own coin, or the banks are going to make their own coin. How did that work out for JP Morgan? Right? Nobody wants to use JPM coin. Nobody trusts these banks. They don't trust each other.
The coin doesn't belong to one bank. That's the thing, Zach, is JP Morgan created their own coin, but it wasn't a cross-border payment coin. It was for their members. This coin actually will be used by all the governments and not just the banks.
It's a neutral coin, right? And this is what I was saying yesterday on the live. This is the reason why banks use SWIFT. It's a neutral software system that isn't actually part of any banking infrastructure. It sits outside of there, and they're able to play all fields because they're like Switzerland. They're neutral, and that makes sense.
Right, but they're not neutral. But they're not really neutral, because like Biden, when he wants to ban Russia, he's going to ban Russia. So now the BRICS nations are all basically saying, well, we need an alternative to SWIFT, because every time we do something bad, they're going to sanction us. So it might be neutral, but the system that works it is not neutral, meaning the other players like the United States are going to ban those other people. They're going to then start making their own system, and then you're just basically going to have competing systems, and no one's ever going to get anywhere. So I don't see how that's better.
No. You're right. And the thing is if they are bringing out a stable coin and it's going to be neutral sitting, it's kind of whose gold reserves are they going to be using though, Adam?
So that it's all in the white pages. They are going to do a public announcement this year on it. Zach, trust me, I was
love this.
Just as shocked as you were when this all got laid out on my desk.
So that's a lot of fucking gold, Adam. That's a lot of gold to be sitting on a neutral.
It's 1.7 trillion of gold reserves that are backing it.
Yeah, where the hell is all that? Do you know what? Can anybody?
Somebody else.
Can we actually see who's been the biggest consumer of a gold in the last year or so? Because $1.7 trillion worth of gold is quite an easy find, right?
Yeah. I do know they own quite a few gold mines that are backing it.
Interesting.
Who's leading this, Adam?
I can't say that part.
He's already said it's got an NDA. Zach, stop trying to break him. Stop trying to make him break his NDA.
I know how to get it, Adam.
You guys want to hear some breaking news? You guys want to hear some breaking news that I can share?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. I went to the crypto convention in Miami, and I met with a former FinCEN lawyer, and I asked him, straight up, like, what do you think about what's going to happen to the Ripple and XRP case? Now, he's former FinCEN, and it was like off the record, so, you know, whatever. But he thinks Ripple has a good shot that they could win this thing or settle. And he didn't like put it out of his mind like, oh, they're for sure going to lose. Like, he's like, no, they have a shot. That was number one piece of information that was super interesting to me. Number two, I actually just met with a like very high level corporate entity that basically they want to make a blockchain. They want to merge a blockchain with a network to decentralize every blockchain in the rest of the world, which is actually a really interesting project. So that could actually be interesting. And the third part was, I almost bought Voyager this week, but I decided not to. So because Binance US got accepted, so it's all good. That's the.
I would recommend, if you guys have secret confidential committee information, you got to monetize it with a red folder, and you got to get people onto your YouTube. Hey guys, I'll be right back 1 second, and then I'll introduce Parabolic.
So,
you guys can have Parabolic is here with us eating his French fries or whatever that is.
Adam.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, mate, when you actually met with these suits, how long have they been developing this for? What was the timeline that they actually started doing this work?
So this has been in the works for the last 4 years. So everything like with XRP and the ISO tokens has all been smoke and mirrors.
ISO 222, I've never followed that BS, mate, to be fair. But yeah, I agree with you. That ISO 222 has always been smoke and mirrors as far as I was concerned. Wow. So we're going to be seeing a new stablecoin. That kind of flies in the truth of the latest Basel document as well, doesn't it? With the fact that they're regulating the 1A, 1Bs as backed by gold, right?
Yeah.
So that again, when you tie the two together, yeah, fuck, yeah.
After I read the white pages and sat down and met with these guys, like everything that's been leading up makes sense.
It does, mate. Yeah, it does.
All lines up.
Also, it also lines up with that latest regulation stuff that's going through the US right now as well, with their responsibilities to crypto assets, to the crypto asset holders as well. So yeah.
And yeah, for the record, I have not dumped any of my XRP. Like, I still think after the lawsuit, it will still have its use case and be used, but it won't be used as the Swift system replacement coin.
Right, Adam, I'm going to ask you some simple questions, and I'm going to fire them off really quickly because I want you to prove that what you're saying is like not just you're just coming up here to shit on us, right? Who are you and what do you do?
So I actually am a CEO of a crypto company that looks for investments in other crypto projects. And so this deal kind of got made through some networking that kind of just fell into the right places. But I will be able to prove it once I get they are issuing me a diplomatic passport because of this deal. So I will be able to kind of show you guys that I did get that, and once it comes in.
Okay, and last but not least, what's your credentials, buddy? What are your actual credentials?
Yeah, so I spent a couple of years in the forex market. That's how I got kind of into day trading and whatnot. And then I kind of like just geeked out and became a nerd in the crypto side, and just dived.
Where can we buy your FX trading course?
Nowhere, because I don't teach one.
I'm just asking those questions, Adam, because whilst that was the way that people were like, get Adam off. We don't know him as a shill. So
yeah, I totally understand. And honestly, like, it just kind of with this whole deal, the stars just align. Like, I got lucky, to tell you the truth. Got networked with the right people.
Right. So what date are you going to be able to actually talk to us about this, Adam? And
after the 15th. So that's why it's next week.
So should we expect a live YouTube review of this and an interview at some point to be able to disclose this information? And who the hell is
Yeah,
going to
so
monetize you?
I'll do a couple things. I was going to do a 3-minute video kind of explaining how the whole thing works, and I'll do a live, like I'll do a live with you or whoever wants to do a live and kind of explain everything.
You need to break it on my show.
I think I was about to say, I think you want to hit a bigger audience, buddy. So I would definitely sign up with this guy right here and do it there.
Zach.
And
I love Zach. Zach and I are homies. Even though he disowns me now.
My advice would be to drop that video after you've done your live with Zach, so everybody has to come to that interview.
Yeah. I'll mention and Zach, you and I can coordinate on when we can do that.
You're going to tell me the details of this thing right after this live ends. All right, so I see that we had a new guest up here, Parabolic. We got disconnected earlier. Can you at least give me credit for inviting you back after all the shit you've talked?
I love you, dude. Make no mistake. There is nothing on this platform that separate me and Zach from our relationship. All the shit he wants, and
I can't see him. He's black to me.
Either way, me and him are going to be friends long term. And the deal is that if any of
Can anyone see or hear?
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good over here. Dark Horse, I think it's you.
I'm going to drop out.
Come on back.
What? Brother, I'm actually sorry you guys had to go through that. That was a little bit weird for me. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that there is no discernment between how I see you as a person versus what I see coming on the charts. And I think we can both agree that your intentions are just as good as my intentions. Can we agree on that? The shit talking, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have a devil's advocate, what do you have really at the end of the day? You don't really have any kind of soundboard to bounce off of. So I have never in the years that I've been looking at these markets and trading them, I think you're a big boy. You can handle your stuff. I hope that you do well in your businesses. Absolutely. I don't want anybody to confuse the issue between opinions versus a guy that is trying to move his life forward, his family forward. And if the advice comes off as negative or it has some sort of toxic vibe to it, at the end of the day, there's always going to be people in the chat that agree with Zach. There's always going to be the people in the chat that disagree with me, and that's normal when you're on social channels. I don't hate Zach, and I've never had any type of issues, other than the fact that if you're going to be dispelling advice, just to make sure that you guys are exploring it in a healthy way. That's all.
So
I give you credit for your red folder stuff. There's nothing. I don't see anything wrong with it. Whether people can discern what is healthy and what is not healthy, by all means, run your business how you want.
Tell us how this XRP story ends in your mind.
Man, like I see big institutions building onto the ledger. Okay, I just don't think it's going to have effects on price action the way that people believe it's going to happen, and that's just because that they're offering it up onto the exchanges. So, if the banks decide that they're going to be utilizing the token at the price that they're going to be buying it on, by all means, you could see good price action. But the math still remains that you're going to have 50 billion in supply that you have to move around. you still have sellers that are going to be coming into the market and selling off that token, and it causes buy and sell pressure. So whether or not you believe in my targets or not, through a cycle, by all means, believe in your $7,000, $10,000, $50,000 targets. For me, it's mathematically doesn't make sense. So I hope that helps you. I mean, and most people don't look at the charts, and most people don't trade.
For you, someone who holds XRP, what's your target for your first time that you're going to be taking some profit? What are you looking at?
So $1.79 is going to be my first wave target, and then 220. And Bitcoin has to show a lot of confidence before that happens. So
what's happening right now? We just pumped to 18.7, 18.8. I got to refresh this actually.
Yeah.
We just pumped this morning, Parabolic. What happened?
Well, it's a movement in the marketplace. The Dow is showing strength. Well, I doubt the S&P is going to break these levels and that we will start to head back down. So this is just a FOMO rally. I don't believe that this cycle is not completed, not from my technical analysis, and that we still have to come down. If we see $10,000 targets on Bitcoin, I would say it's a healthy time to buy into some assets. But again, I have to sit here and stipulate that that's not financial advice. It's just based on the past charts that I've worked with. So if you see those levels, I would say that these are healthy targets. I don't think that the markets are prepared for a bull cycle yet. So yeah.
Interesting. Parabolic, what do you see the Bitcoin bottom at?
You cannot really say that there is a bottom or a top. Okay, nobody's going to catch the absolute top, and nobody's going to catch the absolute bottom.
I'm saying the range.
I mean, I do see that we see 10K in order, but that correlates to the S&P and that correlates to the Dow. We still have room to move down. So the thing is that until I see a reversal, 10K is in the cards easily. It's not out of that range, but at the end of the day, I cannot come up with a forecast unless I see proper trend. So right now the trend is this is clear manipulation what's happening right now from a cycle perspective. Clear manipulation. This should have turned down no problem. So the thing is that you're seeing the rally up, and it's not making any sense from a cycle perspective. So hi, Mary.
Mm-hmm. How you doing, guys?
Good thing I sold all my Bitcoin today.
To me, I'm seeing a manipulation by the actual DCG and people like that. For me, this screams, I need money, I need liquidity, I need to get money out of the market to cover my losses. This is literally timed at the same time as all these court cases and the SEC investigating the DCG. And then all of a sudden there's a massive pump for no reason. Just screams they're using the market makers. But my understanding of market makers is very, very minimal compared to yours, Barra.
So Zach, what do you see for XRP? Do you think it'll move with Bitcoin, or do you think it'll move separately with Bitcoin?
Well, XRP moves on its own, time and time again, like it did just like yesterday or the day before when it pumped up to 38 cents when the rest of the top 10 cryptos were all down. So maybe XRP was just kind of front running this move. I think XRP eventually will move on its own. I think that it's going to have a breakout after this lawsuit, and it's going to be moving on its own from there forward. I think that the utility that's coming for XRP will allow it to operate outside of the rest of the crypto market, the Bitcoin halving cycle, the setup that we're in right now. It won't be a part of that anymore once the utility value is there and it stays there. So that's what I think. But you know, who knows when that's going to happen? Was it Marie?
Ma- Mari.
Marty?
Yeah. What about the XRP and the metaverse? That's going to bring more money also into, into the XRPL. That's one. There was an Amazon, I think, an Amazon partnership also with Ripple. So there's more things happening besides the cross border and on demand liquidity features. So I think, even though I don't know if XRP will be $10,000 or whatever, we don't know because it's all speculation. Um, the more things that Ripple does, the more partnerships in different areas. I mean, the metaverse alone is going to bring tons of money, and that's why, even though Meta is losing billions of dollars with the by them changing their name and pushing all this stuff in Oculus, they're still waiting for this long-term investment to succeed, just like we're waiting for our backs to go up. Because I'm an XRP, I'm in the XRP army. My number one holding is XRP. XRP, just so you know.
Yeah, that's what I love about XRP is that they went to solve payments, efficiency, and scalability first, and now we get NFTs. Now we're going to get metaverse. Now we're going to get DeFi with Flare, but they solved the main issue first, and I think that was the right thing for Ripple to do. For Ripple's business, obviously they're focused more on payments. They're not helping banks introduce the metaverse into their business, but all of that additional DeFi utility that's coming just further reduces that supply that's going to be available for liquidity. So all of it's going to drive price higher, and I'm excited to see all the DeFi coming to the XRP ledger too. It's something that gets overlooked. Parabolic.
Zach, I'm echoing. I'm echoing. I'm gonna come off and just.
Okay.
Yeah. What about Basel III? And the 2% of the Nostro Vostro accounts that the banks are going to hold of crypto, and that just started.
So that's that actual Basel document though. It's whether or not the native tokens are actually, if you actually read that Basel document, the native tokens were going to be classed as securities. So again, that kind of works against us in the courts, right? Because it said native tokens and DLTs will be classed as securities, and any asset that flows through the DLTs, they will be tokenized securities. So anything that flows through on that Basel document itself, I think XRP is going to be 2A, and the rest of the crypto is going to be 2B, and stablecoins and everything else will be 1A and 1B, right? But Marie, just out of interest, when you talked about Amazon and Ripple, are you talking about the Ripple, a partner of Ripple joining with Amazon? Because it wasn't actually Ripple that joined with Amazon, was it? It was a partner of Ripple that joined with Amazon to bring the ODL, and it was a company, not Ripple. Or is this new news that Ripple has actually joined with Amazon? I just want to get some clarity on that.
Pretty new. This is pretty new. This has just happened this past week. The metaverse is pretty new. I think it's Fluff or the Root Network. Let me go back here. I'm trying to find that. This are new stuff. It's not the website has AWS and has all the banks that are connected. 75% are still waiting to get big serve billion people that already have quantum banks and financial institutions.
I can't hear you, Mary. I'm sorry for some reason.
My headsets too. I'm having issues with my mic.
It's not just the internet across the pond, Zach. It's everybody.
I think that what you're talking about is basically Ripple was just integrated or whatever with Amazon Web Services. So that's kind of a partnership that is kind of blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
So you are right in that regard. There are rumors from the XRP community, XRP insiders, whoever you want to call them, that Amazon did cut a deal with Ripple for 5 billion XRP. That cannot be confirmed. I have no way of confirming that, but that's one of the rumors out there. Can't confirm it.
Hey, where did Adam go? Where did Doom and Gloom guy go?
Adam left. I don't know where he went.
Please, please, please make sure you get that information out ASAP, Adam. If you're still here, we need to know. Craig, I'm going to talk to you as soon as possible because you sent me some DMs about this as well. I'm gonna have a read, mate. I literally got up and I jumped on Chaos's live, and then I've just been on lives ever since. So I haven't managed to read my messages, Craig. I'll have a look, buddy. Are you back, Marie?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my headphones because there's issues with the audio here. Well, okay, now I can hear you. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys see him? Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah. Let's see. Trying to find. Anyway, I like XRP because of the so many cases that we have. Zach has been talking about on-demand liquidity for how long, right? Cross-border payments and all this other stuff. Now the metaverse, I mean, that's something that it's gonna take longer, right?
Yeah, I mean, Metaverse got hyped last year. Not much real utility was built on it, but it is the future. But it's just farther away than I think a lot of people think. And in a lot of metaverses, a lot of like blockchain gaming, I think it is the future. It is going to be there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be like a token for us to invest in and trade and get rich off of. Like, I think that for a lot of those use cases, you kind of just have a utility token that's only used within that small ecosystem. And to me, that's not going to be like a big use case. But as far as like speaking generally about metaverse, I think it is massive. And like I said, it just locks up more supply. So with something like XRP, it's designed for payments, it's designed for liquidity. But when somebody decides like we're going to go build our metaverse on the XRP ledger, that's just another person that's locking up XRP that can't be used for liquidity, which when we do the math, you got to have a higher price then, right? Because you
Exactly,
have less
because there's
tokens.
gonna be less tokens. Yeah, exactly.
Savage Lee, what do you mean that the metaverse is actually a wrapped Web 2? Because I can see I think I can see what you're saying. It is just basic computing, right?
Well, I mean, we've had the metaverse since Sims. I mean, in all reality, right? It's just this is updating and integrating distributed ledger technology. I think that's what he means.
But is this the reason why Ubisoft has joined forces with HBAR and using the hashgraph tech rather than the blockchain? Is that the? I mean, that's the difference there, isn't it? There's different types of technology for different types, but the gaming, I don't understand because the metaverse. I've not found a decent fucking game on the metaverse yet. And anybody else? Anybody else actually found a metaverse game that they actually enjoy playing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I'm not in the metaverse to play. I'm in the metaverse to build. I'm a creator, so I'm actually creating a venue in digital assets that I'm going to sell. So that's what I'm doing. I'm a trader too, but just do you guys know that the digital assets in you can sell a world in New Horizons for $1,000 minimum. People don't know how to build this thing, so I'm there building instead of playing games or whatever, or I like using my time. How you say? I'm very picky with my time and what I do with my time. So
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I think it is. It's going to be massive, and I agree, Dark Horse. Like
We got that, Savage.
all the blockchain gaming that I've seen has not been impressive. None of it. Same with Metaverse. None of it. But I believe in it long term. It's for sure the future.
Yeah,
they've
been running test nets. Even like Kusama got involved with what was it called, Roblox or whatever. They did a campaign to see how Roblox would interact with KSM. It was a wonderful experiment. Like at the end of the day, if they can build off that, definitely that if there's a way to automate the because they advertise, right? Like these bigger companies will come to the metaverse and they will advertise, and then they will use these networks moving forward to You know, how big that market is. Well, you've got streaming, and then you've got advertising. Just those two markets alone, I do believe we'll head into the metaverse. And so whether or not you get an NFT smart contract platform that integrates with these games, you know, like the kids, they go bug their parents for making purchases, right? And you cannot deny that long term. That those range in the hundreds of billions of dollars for sure. So it's
$1 billion industry, isn't it? The gaming tech is a $1 billion industry, and if they can move it across to the blockchain, then there's a lot of money to actually be brought across.
Yeah, so
but there are a lot of environments out now, like Algorand and HBAR, that are actually catering for the gaming market itself, right?
Yeah, including Illuvium. So I'm actually gonna start teaching in the metaverse too. Because whoever is in there in the beginning of a technology reaps the benefits, right? And I'm talking to people and I ask them, do you guys understand this is connected to the crypto space, right? And they're like completely clueless at how the metaverse and they're like, no, we're not in the crypto space. I'm like, you are in the crypto space. So and their New Horizons has been loading different countries. They just last week was Spain and this week was France. So I was talking to some guys in France in the metaverse today about, hey, are you guys interested in crypto? What are you guys doing with that? And they're like, no, we don't know anything about it, but I know people that are doing it. So, and that's another thing. There's only 4% of people in the world that are in the crypto space. I mean, that are in crypto, right? I don't think people know how early we are.
I'm not scared. I'm just squinting at the text. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Mary. My bad. Apologies, Mary.
Does everyone, I'm just curious if everyone agrees on this. Like, I kind of see XRP as the best shot of getting a big bang in the bear market, because that case is going to end in the next, 3 to 6 months. And if that's in the middle of the bear market, I see that as a much better play short term than most other plays. Does everyone have that same feeling, or is that something different?
It's been the best opportunity for me in a bear market, in a bull market. Nothing will change my mind about that.
I mean, if you're talking about trading, I was trading XRP and I had an 86% trade. So it depends on what you're talking about specifically. Is it trading? Is it holding? Holding is long term, but again, for me, the bull market, the bear market, every market is great for making money. It depends on what you're doing with it, right?
XRP is a great trader's coin because it rips violently. So if you are trading it, it is a good trader's coin. But for me, I don't play with my XRP, and I'm not trading anymore because of the liquidity crisis. I don't trust these exchanges to actually have liquidity for them to get my trades to go through, for me to be able to pull my crypto or my profit off their platform. So I stopped trading back in November.
I thought you shorted,
bro.
I did right before the FTX collapse and all that. That's when I was trading. It was October, September, August, and July. It was like 4 months. I was shorting Bitcoin, and it was when Bitcoin was ranging between 25K topside and then obviously down to 17K. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I went 8 for 9 on my Bitcoin shorts, and I grew my trading bag 100%. Then I got freaked out with the liquidity crisis, FTX. So I pulled all of my money off, but I transferred it to XRP first. So I pulled all my XRP off of KuCoin and took my money and ran. And I haven't been trading since.
Gotcha. Well, good job on your trades, man. That's good.
I'm glad I made you proud.
Hey, man, as long as you're making, I'm hoping I do you proud by telling you that XRP won't break the all-time high during the next cycle. But let me forecast Bitcoin, and if I see a situation where I can look into a particular exit, then maybe just maybe if you will give yourself the option, when I tell you at $1.40 that it's going to peel down to 50 cents and it breaks lower, maybe we can exercise a trade together to see if we can help grow that bag until that regulation comes in. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that this space needs that regulation, and I hope for all the
100%.
XRP holders that they come forward with that risk and that the utility is taken full place. There's no evidence to suggest that that's what's going to happen. So if I give you guys some targets to look forward to, because I kind of better understand the trading side of things, I don't want you guys making 80% run-ups in the market. I want you guys making 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000% run-ups in the markets, because that's what's available. So the thing is that until I'm proven otherwise, and until that liquidity that you're talking about runs through every bank competing with each other, I would have to say it's never going to break all-time high the next cycle. You just have the buy pressure to do that.
The percentage returns that you're talking about are few and far between, very rare. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what XRP did last bull run. It went up like 50, 60,000% from half a penny all the way up to $3.80.
But okay, so the problem you've got with the analysis on that chart, though, this is why in 2019 the SEC was looking under the hood of XRP at the time. So Brad Garlinghouse and Chris, they asked the market makers to turn off while they were, so that bull run was allowed to happen. I mean, that's if you actually have a look how stable it was all the way through up until that point of when they were being investigated, then all of a sudden that the XRP was allowed to fly. Seems very, very kind of like sus. Very sus.
The thing is that you had roughly 80 billion into the market. So moving a much larger market from 80 billion to 800 billion is much easier to do from 800 billion to 3 trillion. Now, last summer, we saw that relief rally. It injected $2 trillion into the market in 3.5 months. So when I say to you guys that I'm giving you legit targets, what I'm trying to tell you is that even though XRP has its utility, you will still have competition for all of those trillions. So when you say trillion, I'm just trying to give you guys, please, like, you can go forward with the notion that the banks are going to have the utility. I don't want to argue that. I just want to take it from a realistic point of view, where if the space overall gets, say, 4 to 5 trillion on the next cycle, okay, I'm trying to give you guys realistic targets of where you can sell into your green candles instead of worrying about buying red candles. Right?
Yeah, but you just told us that you would rather be getting 10,000, 50,000, 100,000% returns. But then I mean, is that realistic with
it's
where
not,
the market's going to go?
It's not realistic with a coin that has 50 billion in supply. No, it's not realistic at all.
But you're saying it's realistic with some of the other plays that you're making?
There are higher risk assets. If you want to go the safe route, okay, we need to make sure that when we're doing our research, when it comes down to the laws that they're going to be implementing to create safety for this environment, meaning that they're going to either take accredited investors or they're going to hedge against XRP, and that the banks are going to be utilizing it long term, that to make sure that we have the correct information to allow that utility to grow. No, 50 billion in supply is much different than 21 million Bitcoin. It's just a mathematical thing. You can go witness it on a chart. It has really nothing to do with whether or not it's going to be utilized long term. For now, those are the realistic targets based on facts. It's not based on any other type of future projection, whether or not the banks are going to be utilizing it. As far as I'm concerned, Zach, this whole space can go straight to zero. It can, the whole thing can go straight to zero.
I'm just trying to get you realistically think that catching 10,000, 50,000, 100,000% returns is still realistic with how mature this market is and with where we're going? You think that that's reasonable to expect those types of returns? You're going to go find those plays?
Yeah, so what my projections are, I'm not saying that this space is going to get 20 trillion, but when you do add into the derivative markets, the other advertising markets, you look at the markets that are going to be using distribution, AI technology, yes, this market can get 20 trillion, you guys. It can even get more than that. Okay, but I'm just trying to take it from a perspective of how these cycles typically function from from take profit point to buy point. You can go look at any type of chart and you will see, if you go look at Apple stock, you can see 70 to 80% retracements in one of the most highly sought after companies in the world. You just take a look at the charts in the 80s. All of those cycles just repeated themselves over again. And I'm not saying
what I'm saying is I just think that it's going to be much fewer and far between the 10,000x returns going forward, because we're in a market that's already like been established. Like, yeah, we still got a ways to go. There's still tens of trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars that comes into the space, but to just casually throw it out there like, I'm going to go catch 50,000x returns only, and XRP is not going to do that. Like, come on, dude.
Do you think that XRP has a potential of running up 50,000%? And what's that price?
No, I'm just saying that your reasoning for why, you're not interested in XRP is because you're going to go chase and get 50,000x somewhere else is kind of misleading. Like, that's kind of just throwing that out there. Like,
no, I tell everybody I'm into high risk assets, and I will trade on a futures position on Bitcoin or the Dow or the S&P. I will long and short the market. Just because I say that I'm going to put, say, $1,000 into, say, Moon River or Quant or Lossless or whatever, that is associated to my risk, and I will put forth that based on a chart. I will still say that XRP could potentially easily go to $2.20 or $3. You're 10xing your money on that. You're 10x on according to your chart, what you see. If you get $10 out of it, if you get $15 out of it, if you get $20 out of it, I'm more than happy to show that signal to you. I have no issue.
Yeah. Can I interject here? And I think the possibility of making these high returns, not only as a trader, is real, because I also bot trade, and I had in April of last year with, of course, the world that the coin that we got imploded, Luna, right? I had a 5,000 return in 45 days, and this was me trading bots. So it depends on what we're doing in the market, but I think there's assets that can actually go parabolic. That's why you got parabolic, right? And I agree with parabolic there, but again, it depends on what it is, right? And what you're doing in the market to make that profit. Now, if you're waiting for holding something for a long time, it might take longer, right? So I'm gonna agree here with him in that.
Yeah, I'm not denying that you can make money trading and that there's going to be massive money to be made trading. Like, there's a lot of guys that are killing it right now, and that's great. But for me, you say that I'm delusional for thinking that XRP is going to go to $10 or whatever. But here on the other end, you're saying that you expect 100,000% returns.
No, I get what you're saying. Yes, it's kind of like contradictory. Totally.
Yeah, you can't say that 100,000% returns is realistic and say that $10 XRP is delusional.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I look at a chart based on time, I'm just saying there's no reason, if the space gets regulation and a lot of the banks start to use it, that those targets can start to become realistic. But it is according to a lot of other correlations. You have the US dollar, you have the S&P, you have the Dow, you have a lot of assets that will give a sentimental value at a certain time to accumulate and a certain time where it will start to crash. So far, I have not seen what you're talking about, where there is this massive recession. I see hyperinflation. I don't see a massive recession. I don't agree with this analysis that you're talking about, that we're in a massive recession. There are people, if you just go outside, they're driving their cars, they're going to work, and they're earning money. Now, hyperinflation also gets into the account of where those charts sit. So yes, technically, if you're going to risk it from 35 cents to $10, okay, then by all means, that can be a realistic target. When you start getting into things like 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, even if you're doing it for clickbait in order to get people onto exploring these technologies, it becomes a little bit delusional.
Okay. But
Delusional.
XRP aside, we'll come back to XRP. I just want to get you straight, Parabolic. You casually dropped that 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 X returns are going to be like easy for you. I guess I need to sign up for your Discord, bro.
You do.
You
Bro.
can't really
You
say that.
really do.
Oh,
You,
I'm going to go get some 100,000 X's,
you know what? If you don't wanna absorb that risk, by all means, don't do it. Don't do it.
So you're standing by that.
I
that
am.
You're easily going to go catch those gains.
Murray,
I've already been through those cycles, bro. I've already been through that. Well,
that's my point, is that we had those opportunities in the previous bull runs.
Okay, but now the opportunity has changed, and you agree that it has changed because it has an $800 billion market cap. So people are going to be competing for that market, and it won't be just XRP. It'll be Bitcoin. It'll be Ethereum. It'll be BNB. It'll be Polkadot. It'll be Cosmos. It'll be Avalanche. It'll be Matic. It'll be a lot of wonderful projects moving forward. You cannot argue that, Zach. It's fact.
Yeah, but the market itself is going to continue growing, which is going to make there be more liquidity available. And one of the reasons I don't take those kind of crazy risks on those lower projects is because you need to have liquidity involved. You're making a guess that you're gonna be stuck. You don't want to be the guy stuck with garbage coin Inu, you know.
Well, if you think 99.9% of the crypto is going to disappear when rules and regulations come in, that market cap's going to shift into the coins that are going to be left behind, right?
Exactly.
So you've got instant increase in market cap and volume straight off the bat, just from everybody getting out of those coins, hopefully before that fucking shit does happen, moving into the coins that are around. So increase in price is going to come from just that alone. Then on top of that, you've got, I've said this before, 3.5 trillion coming in from Gartner. Gartner's analysis based on the businesses. So you've got the movement of the actual current market cap. You've got 3.5 trillion by 2030 coming from Gartner and the companies. And then you've got the Basel document allowing banks to now actually put their real money in rather than going through hedge funds and secretly doing it. You're looking at about 15 trillion market cap just off that alone. And it's all going to be pushed into 200, 300 tokens. That's a lot of money pushed into 200 or 300 tokens rather than 23,000 tokens.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you, Zach, because you always say that market cap doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Is it because we're talking about right now what we have and what is going to come in the future, all the other liquidity that has come. And then we have the issue with the private ledger that we don't know. I had to mention the private ledger that we don't know how much money is being traded there, and supposedly that we heard rumors that the price of XRP was different there. Do we know all the market cap?
So,
like everywhere, every coin that is out there. Do we know that? Because we got a lot of things that are like hidden. For me, it seems to, and so that's what I was asking. I wanted to ask you that question because.
Yeah, no, let me explain. So for me, I kind of coined the term liquidity value. And I think that it's a different calculation that needs to be made for coins like XRP, XLM, where their primary utility is liquidity. Because the traditional market cap calculation does not do the justice for putting a value on that liquidity value. Right? Does that make sense? So for instance, when you're looking at traditional stocks, commodities, you can use a market cap calculation to get you an idea of how much value is in that asset, right? But with a utility like liquidity, you need to do a different calculation. And so that's where I came up with the term liquidity value, which is basically going to represent the value that the amount of liquidity that network provides.
So, okay.
The bandwidth calc. It's the bandwidth calc, Zach. It's how much bandwidth of money that can actually go through the DLT itself at one time.
Bro,
So if it's a 4 seconds, that's the actual bandwidth. If you think of it like your fiber broadband and everything else is bandwidth, it's the bandwidth allocation that you can put through a DLT through the split seconds that you've got. So I know you call it the liquidity thing, but it's a bandwidth calculation. And XRP itself is got a 4 second bandwidth delay, which is 21,000 seconds. I know this calculation like the back of my hand, but the actual bandwidth on all of these DLTs, I don't care. The only reason why Ripple call it an ODL is because they wanted to get away from using the word XRP in the papers, and the ODL itself is an actual product that they actually market now. Every one of these DLTs has that ODL, every single one of them. So it's definitely useful to always understand what that ODL is. Always, and definitely agree with the bandwidth calc. It's the best way to actually see how much money you can actually run through the RippleNet or any sort of network at one time.
Zach, can I ask you a question? You coined the term. How does that work? Give your audience some facts about how that works. What does that look like from an investor's point of view? What happens about that term that you've coined? What happens? What's the cycle on how it's being protected on the chain, and how does that distribution happen through XRP? How does that happen?
Well, it's a simple calculation. You need to determine how much money, how much value is getting settled every single day.
Okay.
And then you come back to how much of the supply do you have, how many coins do you have, by how often can you recycle them. With XRP, it's 4 seconds. That calculation gives you the price. I coined this term because I'd never really heard someone kind of put a name on it or come up with it. Dark Horse calls it bandwidth. I just came up with the term liquidity value because it's a different calculation than the market cap calculation. The equations are different.
Okay.
And I think that it's improper to just look at a coin like XRP based off of market cap because it doesn't give you the full picture, the real value. It'll give you the price,
So,
but it doesn't give you the
Zach.
value. There's
So
a difference between price and value.
156 trillion divided by 365 days is 840 million. 840 million divided by 21,000 seconds, which is 84,000 seconds in a day, it actually equates to 20 million. So 20 million is 156 trillion was the actual starting point for all the money that Swift actually deals with. If you're running 20 million on average through the ODL, then you only need, and if we just round up XRP to 50 cents, you're looking at a need for only 40 million XRP in the ODL. So when we're talking billions in escrow, this is why I say having all those billions is bad, because you only need 40 million XRP to actually run 20 million at 50 cents. So if you actually, this is the reason why I prefer to look at how much money you can push through higher within that 4 seconds. So 156 trillion. I did the maths on Amazon as well. I mean, they make it only required only 5 million XRP for Amazon to run every single payment system through the XRPL. So when you're actually looking at that bandwidth, the more XRP tokens that they've got in the ODL, the less price XRP needs to increase because you've got more ability.
Yeah.
So you need to push more value every 4 seconds.
Question, Dark Horse, because you said, do you believe that the majority of the coins are going to be gone? Is the question, because you were saying like 10 minutes ago that it's going to be a point that's not going to be that many coins, and that's gonna actually raise all the prices of the coins, right? You agree there?
100%. I've never been against the XRP systems, right?
Yeah.
XRPL, I am 100% in.
Okay.
I've got tokens in it the same. But the thing is, to actually raise the value of XRP, you need to either decrease the amount of in circulation XRP tokens and not allow Ripple to own as much for the ODL, right? So they can't actually increase the value, but they've always got that 50 billion sitting there in the escrow that they can just go, oh, I can just go get some from there every month.
Okay. Yeah, but here's the problem. And Marie kind of asked this earlier. There's too many variables. There's not that many. There's 4 variables that go into that equation, right? But it is pure speculation, and it is pure us just doing the math here all night, playing around with numbers and speculation. So I really think that nobody's really in a position to do that calculation and to come up with any sort of number that matters yet, because there's just so many unknown factors. Like, how much of the escrow is Ripple actually going to give up? How much XRP is actually available for on-demand liquidity. Like, there's just so many different variables that are unknown within that. Like, we don't know any of the variables,
including you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you are going to give projections, if you are going to give price targets, okay, you are going to say things like 10,000.
When I did my whiteboard session, my market or my calculations, I gave the option for we only get 10% of Swift. We only get 50% of Swift. And so I've always tried to bring it back to that. Like, I've never said that XRP is 100% getting all the money. All the money flows on the XRP ledger. The rest of crypto dies. Like,
yeah,
I've
that's
never
true.
said
He's never said that. And question, Dark Horse. So, had you made the calculations if the majority of the coins are gone? That's my other question. Let's say that there's only 200 something coins. Had you made the calculations with that money and divided among those coins? Because you're only just doing it now. I mean, a couple of months, 6 months ago, we had $3 trillion in the market cap, and now we don't even have, we're like right there
And
almost
where
to the
was
trillion.
XRP? And where was XRP at that 3 trillion?
But still, had you made the calculations getting rid of the majority of the coins?
Do you know what, though? In that calculation itself, right? In that calculation itself, the actual maths of it, I maxed out the XRPL to run in at 1,500 transactions during the whole 4 seconds. I maxed out the money 156 trillion, but like Zach said, he's taking 50% of that. So if you 50% my calculation, then on top of that, it's whether or not the actual ODL is a singular or a plural. If it's a plural ODL, then the whole calculation's off shot anyway. But if you're looking at one ODL, this is the problem we've got at the moment. And even Ripple are obscuring the fact of giving us the ability to see what the ODL is, because in the latest documents, they redacted the ability for us to learn about it. But the guess on what the actual ODL is, again, we need maximum volume of money at one point during the 4 seconds. But even then, right, the XRPL has in its ability to break down a transaction to actually not utilize all of the XRP tokens. So if you're sitting there and you do a transaction and it takes 8 seconds, 12 seconds, 16 seconds, you don't care. So it can push through $1 trillion in multiple transactions, one after another, and you'll still sit there 30 seconds later with the money in your account. It does not need to be at a max value to be able to transfer that whole value in one go. So again, the XRPL has actually been written. You can go see all this. It's on the RippleNet documentation. And the transaction fee, the problem you've also got is, now imagine you go to the post office and you pay 45 cents for a postage stamp. Then the next week you go post the same letter and the postage stamp is now $50. Why would a bank be interested in transferring money when there's such a variation in the price value? Now, if you look at the actual, if you actually look at the tokenomics for the actual token itself, on average, it's 10 drops an XRP token. So that equates to like 0.0005 cents, 5 something, right? So then all of a sudden you guys go and say, now this token's worth $500. Now all of a sudden it's worth $3 a transaction. So the banks 1 week were paying 20 cents. Now they're paying 50 cents. Do you see where I'm going? There's a certain stability that's going to have to be afforded to the XRPL and that token for the banks to be able to be consistent.
Here, it's raining facts in here. There's too many facts being shared here. Stop it, Doc Hurst.
It's good questions, but in all reality, I mean, we have to ask ourselves, do we even have enough information to be talking about these calculations, to even be trying to figure it out?
Exactly.
Do we have enough facts? Because I don't feel like we do.
It's on the XRPL network. You can actually go get those facts off the XRPL itself directly.
But I don't think they're telling us everything. I don't think they're telling us I don't think they're telling us everything. We don't have all the information.
The only thing we don't have is the ODL info.
Wait a sec. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that they're not telling us everything?
Because they're partnered up with banks that keep their business secretive. It's
non-disclosure agreement.
They have
Non-disclosure agreements.
Parabolic.
Non-disclosure agreements.
Federated side chains, which they're not going to publicize.
Exactly.
And they've already they talked about it at the Swell conference. They've talked about it multiple times. The reality of the situation is, you want CBDCs on your network. but they don't want the CBDCs on their network. You want the money, but you don't want the publication of what you're really doing. That's why they
Exactly.
made these federated side chains that will utilize the XRP ledger, and then when it connects to the main chain, that's when you might see those huge wicks up. That's what I think, not financial advice, of course.
Yeah.
Nothing from a coder's perspective tells you that they've got anything special. It's delusion. Sorry.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's
You gotta
just
be clear.
You're one coder, no offense. But.
Exactly.
Prosperity Fund, for the record, the Basel IV document, which talks about tokenized assets and crypto assets, CBDCs are not classed as crypto assets. For the record, they have actually kept out the crypto asset.
I'm not even arguing about crypto assets. I'm arguing about how much volume will go through this ledger. The second thing you also have to recognize here, which I don't think a lot of people are thinking about, is they're not going to announce all these partnerships because you just even in the lawsuit, everyone is posting, please don't mention our names, because they don't want anything mentioned until it's confirmed that XRP is no longer considered a security, at least at current sales. Once that's done, they can make all the announcements in the world. So Ripple could have a whole layup of companies.
Like I said, the Basel document classifies native tokens as security tokens from the bank. So if they're waiting for the fact that it's not going to be classed as security, but then you've got a banking regulation document forcing native tokens to be classed as, or actually calling them a security token, it's kind of counterintuitive to what you've just said, really. If they're waiting for them to not to be declared a security, but then the Basel document releases out saying that DLTs with a native token will be a security asset.
Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily reading that Basel document correct. DLTs with doesn't mean that XRP is a DLT with the security. You're reading it one way, and I don't know that you're reading too much into that Basel document, meaning they're saying that if it's a native token and it's a DLT this way, then it can be a security token. It doesn't mean every single DLT is a security. I think you're making a jump.
Yeah, and I have another question because when they're doing
60.1, 60.2, and 60.3 of that document.
Send it to me in the chat. I'll look it over.
It's on my link tree. If you go to my link tree, you'll see the Basel document under review, and it's 60.1, 60.2, and 60.3. Then if you go down to 103.268, it then also talks about the cryptocurrency asset types.
No, I skimmed it before, but I'm not sure if when you're reading it as DLTs that are native tokens can be security tokens versus XRP, which is a DLT, is a security token. It's not doesn't mean that they're classifying all DLTs as security. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I have to see it inside before I can clarify.
So I had a question about the HODL because also, isn't it when they're moving great amounts of money also that they use XRP as that bridge
Bridging currency.
And I think I read that it burns some of it as they're moving money. So that's another thing. That you ever calculated that too?
Yeah, it'll take 3,124 years to actually burn it all off.
No, you can't throw out a number like that without having all the rest of the variables. You can't just throw out, it'll take 3 million years. You got to have the rest of the variables.
It will take a long time, but that's the argument is it will take a long time because they're not using a lot of it.
It's 100,000 transactions on an average of 10 drops per transaction per XRP token, and maxed out at 1,500 transactions per second using 10 drops. It came out at like 3,124 to burn off 100 billion tokens themselves. Now, if you take into the fact you've got private ledgers and everything else, I was just running off one XRPL. But even if you pull in another 200, 300 XRPLs maxed out, you're still going to burn down at around about 500 odd years. The actual burn rate, if you go and have a look at the XRP scanner, you'll see that for saying it's been running for 12 years, it's only burnt 10 million XRP. So you've got 990 billion XRP left to go, and it's been running for 10 years already. So if we...
10 years has nothing to do with it.
You'll go through
because adoption hasn't happened yet. It's not relevant how long it's been used.
And maybe they will burn more in the future. Maybe they will burn more in the future. We don't, because they're doing, again, we're looking at information now and back, like some lagging, right? It doesn't mean that it's gonna stay the same. So if any of your variables changes, the whole numbers go. All of us.
On your burn function would also apply to ODL then, wouldn't it? That doesn't make any sense. You're talking about having liquidity for the banks.
You're not going to just execute a burn function so that suddenly that there's no liquidity. You guys are making
Agreed, guys.
an argument for the ODL. You're not making the argument of the burn function. The burn function is to reward the holder. That's the entire, along with the calculation that the exchanges need to be buying and selling. That burn function exists for a reason. They're not going to just have an issuance of onto the exchanges and say we're going to burn 1 billion tokens tomorrow. It doesn't work like that.
It helps secure the network from attacks. That's really the main
So that's
function.
why they build on that ledger. They don't secure it by just simply adding a burn function to it. Yeah, you can go talk to the people on go have a talk with the people onto the test nets, okay, that are using the ledger, and that they go on
Go
to
and watch it.
they go on to
Go and watch it.
they actually have competitions for not only security, but they also have competitions for what is that transactional rate and speed look like. Yeah, I can send Tron just as fast as XRP.
Yeah, but here's the thing to think about and consider with
Let's not
this.
talk about Trump.
Like
Yeah.
like Marie brought up with the metaverse, NFTs coming to the XRP ledger. There's a crypto project called Reaper, which votes on reaping XRP ledger tokens. Every single vote that you make for the Reaper project, like every time you cast a vote on deciding which coin you want to reap or burn off next, it burns a portion of XRP. So basically, anytime you use the XRP ledger, you're going to be burning. It's not just for on-demand liquidity. It's going to be any time. So when people build blockchain games on the XRP ledger, every transaction for that blockchain game is going to be burning it, right? So when you start to add in all this other DeFi, all this other utility that's going to be built on top of the XRP ledger, you can't just calculate how much XRP is going to get burned just off on-demand liquidity, just off cross-border payments. You got to go factor in how much XRP is going to be burned from little projects like Reaper that are just doing voting on the XRP ledger, and every vote burns a portion of XRP. That starts to add up over time. Now, I'm not making the case that all of the XRP is going to get burned up. And once again, that's another function of the XRP ledger that they could vote to change down the road. But as it stands today, yeah, each transaction on the XRP ledger is going to burn some.
Okay, so
can I just add to that argument, please? So you know how you guys are all talking about XRP can go to 10K, 1K, all of this. Now, inside of the XRPL, if you go to xrpl.org and go to transaction costs on the actual values themselves, you'll see that there is. I'm going to show you now on my screen, Zach, but I don't know if it'd be best if you try and share this. But if you go to 33 fulfillment size in bytes, and that is for transactions with fulfillment from the escrows, right? That value, if you actually looked at the burn rate for that, and then if you take into account the price action that you guys are actually wanting, if you put every drop to like 10 cents or 5 cents and got yourself 1,000, imagine how much banks would have to pay if the actual burn rate was 330 drops. I mean, if you put it to $1 a drop, which I've heard people say $1 a drop, which would make it $1 million coin, then you're looking at $330 to actually send a transaction. So if you break that down to 100,000 a coin, which would make that 10 cents a drop, which is what people have also been saying, then that makes it $330. Do you see where? So do you see where I'm going with this? The transactions are actually set here, and it's on the XRPL org. It's there for you to actually look at the RippleNet itself, and you can actually do a price comparison to see how much a transaction will cost. And at 330 drops for the internal escrow accounts, it becomes very fucking expensive for anybody to use it. Whole point of
Dark
the
Horse, I
XRPL
totally
is supposed to be cheaper.
Dark Horse, I totally hear you, and that's why they have actually pointed out in the past that the amount of drops as well as the amount of XRP required to open up each XRP account can be voted on and changed over time. And as usage changes, they will change the amount of drops being burnt as well as the amount. Like, for example, it used to be you needed 20 XRP, I think, to open up an XRP wallet. Now it's 10. They voted on that, and that can change. So as the price increases, the actual XRPL, meaning the validators, can then vote on the changes to those things.
Okay, so if it's consensus and you got 50 people voting on that, you know what? I'm just going to give a relief rally to all the
all the wonderful people in the chat. I know what you guys want to hear. I know what you guys want to hear. What is it? What is it with the chat? You guys, you guys attacking. I know what you want to hear. You want $10,000. That's what you want to hear, right? That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear about validators. You don't want to hear about tokenomics. You don't want to hear about a chart or that there's pairings in the market and the sentiment is down and that these big investors, when you call them right at the bank and make a phone call, that they're not investing into XRP. You can call them. You can call them. I've called them, bro. But wait. No, we're going to give a relief rally to the chat. $10,000 XRP. 10,000. That's what you want to hear, right? That's what you like. The red folder, baby. The red folder, baby. Prosperity Fund wants to know it, baby. 10 grand. You all, the rest of you can just, don't worry about it. It's going to 10 grand. Don't worry about me.
The problem you got with 10 grand is market cap.
Come on,
that's
get
the market
excited.
cap.
It's going to 10 grand. Let's go, baby. We can do this song together. We can
That's the market. That's the market cap. That's the market cap of XRP at 10,000 of the current circulating supply. There's not enough money in the world.
Bro, we just went over market cap versus liquidity value. Now you're taking it back to market cap. Here's my thing, Parabolic. You called
Zachy
up...
boy.
Listen.
Zachy boy. Yeah.
Parabolic.
Go for it.
You called up one bank. You, Mr. Little Parabolic in Canada, called up one bank. And they said that they aren't investing in XRP. And now you're telling everyone that no bank is investing in XRP. You can't do that, bro. Let's go.
That's true.
I agree with you. Say none or all.
That's inductive.
It's a
reasoning.
fallacious statement. Because if there's an exception to the rule, it drops the whole.
Tell you what, Zach. Tell you what. I'm gonna
agree with Zach
all again, and I'm gonna record all their voices. I'm going to talk with every one of them. I'm going to call TD Ameritrade. I'm going to call the Chase Bank. I'm going to call every single one of them, Zachy boy, and I'm going to ask them, why don't you buy XRP?
And they're going to tell you, right? They're going to tell you.
And then I'm going to tell you that it's not going to go to $10,000.
Let me save you time.
They're not going to buy it because it's not determined to be not a security yet, and then it's dependent on the case. That's obvious.
Let me save you time, Parabolic.
What you need to do, Parabolic, is call them after the lawsuit ends, if
exactly.
Ripple wins, and then call them 6 months later and say,
exactly.
Hey, now that XRP is not a security, would you be willing to use this? You'll save all this Nostra and Vostra money.
Exactly.
You'll save all this other money by doing ODL. You'll have more liquidity. You can free up money for other investment. Oh, that is attractive. Yep. I was always wary because of the lawsuit. But now there's no lawsuit.
Can we make the argument that they could also determine it as an unregistered security and it can go to zero? Can we make that argument as well?
No.
I don't know that it would go to zero even if it was an unregistered security.
I hear something. Hello? Mommy? Is that you? Daddy? Is that you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 1 coin 50K. 2 50K. 3 coins 50. Okay, I'll stop. Listen, come on, you guys. Come on. It's not going to do the numbers you think. I'm just trying to give you realistic targets.
Okay.
Please just allow me to do my job and promote you. Zach, you've got a good Discord. I am just telling you facts. These are facts based on the charts, bro. It's not going to do no crazy numbers. There's no math to support it, bro.
But let me save you some time. You don't got to call all the banks. Just go listen to what Bank of America just said at Ripple's Swell Conference. They just said this.
They are interested in it. They're not going to buy it yet. So yes, I hope you get your regulation.
And to be fair,
to win.
What Adam's just said, then showing an interest in something is going to be different to what Adam's going to be giving us on the 15th, right? So I would hold back actually arguing against him just in case what Adam says actually turns out to be realistic, Zach. This is the problem we've got, right, is if the banks are saying they're interested, they'll probably be interested in the blockchain and the technology, but they might not be interested in Ripple owning it or running it, which is kind of where power is coming from. So
No, it wasn't just they're interested. They said that they're going to use XRP for a quote unquote competitive advantage after the lawsuit. That was the direct quote. So
Okay.
it wasn't, oh, we're interested. We know they're interested. They did the partnership back in 2018. They said that they're going to use it for a competitive advantage. But guys, Parabolic called one bank who said they're not going to use XRP. So everyone dump your XRP bags and give up.
No,
Exactly.
that's not what I said. That's not what I said, bro. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I hope that you XRP holders make no mistake about this, you guys. This is not a children's game for me.
hell
Okay?
no,
I
it's
want
not
you
money.
guys,
It's
I
money
want you
invested.
guys, I want you guys to win alongside with me. I just want to stop about talking about the unrealistic targets that make no financial sense whatsoever. That's all I want
But
to do.
hey,
Please, Zach, please stop talking about targets that are totally unrealistic. Just from the sake of your Discord, I wanted to tell you that these things work in cycles and I want you guys to win. I am not
The
saying
facts
this
folder.
because you're worried about whether or not it's going to head 10 to 15,000. If on the exchanges they mint a quadrillion dollars worth of stable coin and suddenly that market cap shoots into oblivion, may God bless you and your bags. But I'm telling you, there is no schedule for that. The banks are not going to try and even bother with that. Okay, and there's no map afford it. The competitive advantage is not going to move that token from 35 cents to $10,000 or $50,000 target. It's not going to happen in any lifetime, my friend.
everything that we're talking about is unrealistic, but I want to say if you guys go sign up for Parabolic's Discord, he is shilling easy
Oh,
100,000% returns.
Zach, he dropped facts, and then we moved to attacking for shilling. What's your counter argument to that? What's your counter
He
argument
didn't
to the
drop
actual price
facts,
action?
bro. He didn't drop
He just said
facts.
to you, he said to you about the banks not wanting it, the price valuation that you're choosing to tell your people. What's your counter argument? Where's your maths to give us the price valuations that you've given? Where's the maths? Where's the facts for those values?
We already went over this. We do not have enough information to make that calculation.
Great. So then leave it at that. Put that on your YouTube. Put that
But
on your.
but
Put that.
we can get easy
Hey,
100,000%
put
returns
that
from
on your
Parabolic.
TikTok. Put that on your TikTok. We do not have enough information to correlate those price targets. Do it,
But
man.
easy 100,000% returns on Parabolic's Discord. Sign up, everyone.
No, I never said that.
Oh,
Yes, you
I
did.
never said
stop
that, bro.
attacking.
I
Yes, you
never
did.
said
We
that.
were all here.
I
I
wanted
never
to say
said
something,
that.
guys. Not
Right.
everybody here. Okay, XRP community here. Anybody that's in the XRP, does everybody here think that it's gonna go to 10,000? Because all I want is for XRP to go to the F. And if it goes to three something, and I bought it at 29 cents, I am going to get way more money than I had. So I don't care if it gets that up there. Now we all speculating. We all have limited information, so it doesn't mean that it's gonna happen or not gonna happen. But at least all I'm wanting is just to get there, the all time high. That's it.
You got to admit, Zach, I
All
get your
time high.
chat lit up like a Christmas tree. You got to admit, we do a good job of it, bro. We're getting attention to XRP, are we not? This is good, man. Look at your chat. I said 5 things, and your chat lights up like a freaking Christmas tree. It's amazing. It's amazing, bro. You're getting huge exposure just from my bullshit. I know everything. Parabolic will tell you exactly where to exit. $1.40 down to 50 cents. He didn't listen to me. But it still went down. Wait a second. Do I hear something? Yes, those are facts. That actually happened. And you wanted to short with me, but you didn't listen to me. That relief rally was just a relief rally, and it went down. Expose yourself to perfect things like facts and over fiction. And I will tell you again, my friend, as long as you are getting what you want, which is to help people, I can say honestly that you have good intentions. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. I want people to discern whether or
Yes.
not they're hearing truth or fact and that people are exposed to that. That's all. I believe you have good intentions, man, and I want all the XRP holders to win long term, including Prosperity Fund. I know he's just wringing his ears and his neck about big targets. He just can't wait to sell into $10. He just can't wait. He's going to be a millionaire. He knows it. He just knows it. But I want you guys to
Listen,
get
I've never made any crazy predictions on XRP.
Exactly.
All I've said is that it's the best risk reward opportunity in a bear market, in my opinion. Not financial advice. And I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, both my fund and myself. Not financial advice, of course. But I'm willing to put some money on the table that I can turn something from 30 to 40 cents into a 10x profit in a bear market, possibly. Or in 2025, I'm willing to wait a little bit. I don't need to get the initial pump and then dump. I'm willing to wait till 2025. If it's cleared, then it's going to go up just like Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to go up. If anyone who thinks that Bitcoin's going to go back up to 60 or 100,000, or Ethereum to 5 to 7 to 10K, XRP is going to follow suit if it's cleared from the lawsuit. So I don't see how that's not reasonable.
Do you agree that it on cycles and that it is correlated to the exchanges and the minting schedules and all of that stuff, and that it is correlated to the US dollar and it's correlated to all the other types of competition for that space? You agree that the competition exists then, right?
I agree that initially, before it potentially could get utilized if they win the lawsuit, yes, it's going to the market. Even the Ripple documents say that. That's the whole point. The Ripple lawsuit says they got the SEC witness to basically, the expert to basically say, oh shoot, it's not because of Ripple, it's because of it moves with markets. That is in the legal filings of the court case. So I'm not worried about that. My issue is long term. Could we see a decoupling? And the answer is, I think so. If they win the lawsuit, if they get cleared, then they could be traded.
I'm sorry, it's going to have to decouple from Bitcoin 100%, because like I bring the post office situation back as again, and you said it's a consensus. Can you imagine every time it goes up 1,000, every time they're going to have to reconsensus it, take another drop off, then they're going to have to go up another 1,000, consensus, take it off. You'd be stuck in consensus voting 24/7 until you actually get the price value down, so the banks won't actually suffer a hit on the transaction costs. You got to think.
But Dark Horse, but you're missing the whole point. But Dark Horse, the part that you're missing here is that because XRP moves so quickly, the resulting difference in liquidity will not make any manageable difference for these banks because they're trading it in 3 seconds or less.
It comes out. The transaction cost is built in. The transaction cost is built in. So if you're taking 10 drops on average and 330 drops for an escrow transaction, right? If the price goes up in XRP, guess what? The price of the transaction for the person that receives it at the other end is going to be included. So the price action of XRP affects the transaction cost during the XRPL transaction. So what you're saying there is, like I said, it directly affects the bank on the transaction. If I put 1,000 XRP in at the top, I get 999.99999990 back on the other side. Now, if it goes to $1,000, I'm getting even less. If it goes to 10,000, I'm getting even less.
Here's the problem.
That's where the transaction comes in.
I just said that they would vote on the drops. You're focused too much on the drops, man. They're going to vote on the drops just like they voted on how much you need to set up an XRP wallet.
But that's the point you said I was missing out. But that's the point I was saying. Every time it goes up, they're going to have to have a consensus vote, and they're going to have another consensus vote.
How do you think a government works? If you really want a decentralized community, they make votes. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That means the fluid.
Every time a price changes. So what happens? So what happens when XRP drops?
Sure at a certain point, but I'm sure at a certain point the community will say, "Okay, we've reached this level. We could lower the thing." That's not even the issue. The biggest thing that I think a lot of people are missing here is that Ripple may not. If you look at the ODL documents, they're not saying that the banks are going to have all this. They're saying that they might even hold the XRP for the banks. The banks send them the money, and they basically send it all out. So it's kind of irrelevant. They've minimized it. If you listen to some of the interviews of Ripple employees, they've basically said that they are going to. They spoke to banks about it, and banks are like, "Well, first, is it a security or not?" Well, if they clear that hurdle, Ripple might just be able to hold their $50 billion or whatever it is in escrow,
and then they can basically have, using ODL, have the money from the banks come to Ripple, they exchange the money out for them, and it's done. So they don't even have to hold it on their balance sheet. They get to transfer the money instantaneously, and they don't have this discrepancy. In addition to the fact that it's fast. So it's kind of irrelevant, and that's why I see it as a good model. And if you notice, they've said themselves that's why they pivoted from the earlier XRP, you know, how they were going to use XRP, to now ODL, and how they're making this whole infrastructure system. That is a legitimate thing. And if you look at the documents and the interviews, it's pretty obvious. The biggest thing that's bullish to me is Rosie Rios. I just got on my LinkedIn. Rosie Rios is the former treasurer of the United States.
Yep.
She's still putting out videos for XRP
exactly.
in the middle of the lawsuit.
Yep.
Who does that? Who's on the money? Who's a former treasurer, hooked in with the Dems, hooked in with everybody, who's at the seat of power, is going to trash their reputation to go to a junk coin in the middle of a lawsuit and then start promoting it. It doesn't happen. She would be running from the hills.
And that's one connection, and that's only one connection.
If that was true.
That's only one connection.
I never called it a junk coin. I never called it a junk coin. Never, ever, ever called it a junk coin.
Dark Horse is lost in the sauce on hypotheticals. Parabolic's heart is filled with hate. That is the problem with these guys. Literally, that's it. Too much hypothetical, lost in the sauce, maths. Parabolic's filled with hate.
The technology. I'm actually looking at the software, Zach. There's a difference. You're looking at a price evaluation based on applications of what it could do, and that to me is you're lost in the dream world. I'm looking at the software. I'm looking at the realistic aspect of what the software system is.
What about the rest of the board? Like, Rios is only one of the people that are connected to the biggest. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, all this stuff.
Again, that's irrelevant to what he's just said there about the fact I'm lost in the source. I'm actually lost in the software. You're buying a software system. You're buying a token to use the software system. That token is a virtual currency that's going to go from top to bottom within the software system. And when you look at the price valuation of the XRPL itself, how that token is going to be used on that software system, that's where your focus should be, because that's its utility. If you're going around telling people that XRP is a utility token, then you have to focus on what its utility actually is. If you go to ChatGPT, the only utility and function of XRP is to run through the XRPL. It has no other function. So when you look at the utility of XRP, you have to look at the software, you have to look at the math, you have to look at what its ability is. Then you have to look at the variable factors that can influence the software factors itself. And that is price variation, accumulation, usage, transactions. Those are the variables that I put through, and that's the way I look at it. I'm not lost in the source. I'm actually evaluating the software and the application and the functionality and the utilization. But if you want to talk about other things, that's fair enough. But I'm looking at the real world aspects of what that software is actually doing.
That's fair. I think we can only just spend so much time going through the hypothetical maths and calculations. At a certain point, at the end of the day, I just look and I'm like, Ripple's sitting at the table with the people at the very top of the banking and financial world. They've sat down with over 50 central banks. They have over 400 banks and financial institutions. Every other crypto project in the space can't even get these people to pick up the phone. So maths aside from that, that's facts that I can see that we do know is true. Does that mean that XRP is worth 10K? Not necessarily, right? But I'm just saying, like, I feel like sometimes I feel like you are just too caught up in the different calculations and all the different variables instead of just getting to the point of nobody else has partnered up with central banks. I mean, there's been a few, but they already have 2 central bank digital currencies that are on the XRP ledger right now. They've sat down with 50 central banks. Like, you get my point? While the rest of the space is going bust, insolvent, they're going out of business. The founders are running to the hills, taking the money and running like a thief in the night. Ripple's still hiring. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, we can talk hypotheticals, math, calculations, all these different variables, but don't get people too confused from the end point here, which is no one is further along in getting banks and financial institutions to use this technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, invest accordingly based off those facts, based off that circumstance of evidence that we've displayed here today in this session. Invest accordingly. It's not financial advice.
Yes.
Dark
But
Horse is woman paid by TikTok. I love that comment. Whoever said that, cheers, buddy.
And by the way, none of us are getting paid. I don't get paid by XRP or Ripple or anything. That's another thing that I'm getting tired of hearing. And start getting, like go and talk to people and or do the research and check if people are getting paid, because I'm not getting paid. I believe in XRP. I don't think, again, it's going to go to 10,000. But again, if it gets to three something, I'm happy. And I don't think everybody to where it was before, to the 3 some, the highest. Yeah.
$3 you're going to sell off the same as 20 million other wallets, right? You're waiting for that $3 target, right? And that institution that you're talking about, all those 50 banks, they're going to buy up all your XRP, correct?
Who said that? The banks
they're
are going
not
to buy
sitting down at the table with Theta.
Exactly. So the deal is, I wish all the people that come in this chat that you guys get your bags filled, 100%.
At least we can get rid of that.
on that theory, and that theory alone, we know that when the escrow accounts come out, Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple, they sell the escrow values not at the current market value to the banks, the ODL customers. So they actually have in the SEC document, in the main complaint, they actually sell XRP and buy back XRP. They ask the market makers to buy back and sell them to make sure that there is a price variance of 0.008 on the actual XRP price value. They will buy back and they will sell, and they will keep it at that process. They will buy back over a long period of time, or they'll sell it at that long period of time to keep that price variation stable. So when you're talking about the banks having the ODL and the banks having all of this XRP and everything else, you've got to look at the prior actions of how they've actually done this and sold it to the banks. History repeats itself. The thing is like I said, until they actually start utilizing this and transactions start flowing, which is where the price increase that you're wanting is going to come through, the XRP value will stay around about where it. That's my belief.
So why are you invested in XRP?
Because I see long-term potential in it.
It just doesn't mean that it's going to 10 grand.
That's fine.
I see at least about 5-6x in it, so therefore I'm happy holding it.
I'm gonna definitely sell my bags, but what I'm praying for the XRP community, and now I'm gonna get into some sort of moral code here for people. I know that I'm a good trader, yeah. You're a good fundamental guy in the XRP community there, Mr. Zaki. But the deal is that when you go to sell your bag, somebody's holding the bag. And that really irritates me from a moral perspective. And I hate the fact that at the end of the day, I was forced into a chart because I too get liquidated on. I too make bad trades. I too expose what my bad trades look like to my Discord. And I will say to you with 100% confidence, okay, that if you're going to give price targets and somebody is going to be holding that bag and it has no utility, you belong with the rest of the mutts that sit in the higher powers, okay, that invested in this space with no moral code. And if they are going to fill your bags and the institutions are going to help you out, okay, that the government is going to fill and the banks are going to fill your bags, there should be some type of realistic target of which you can dump on them, not the other way around. And so if you're going to look at it from that perspective, no, I don't want retail holding my Theta bag at $15. I want to see that project long-term gets utility so that it rewards its investors long-term. And so far, no good. So far.
Okay,
it sounds like
Zach,
at the end of the day,
Zach,
it sounds like
Zach,
at the end of the
I
day,
appreciate
everyone
you
in this
letting me up,
chat
buddy.
thinks that you're going to get a 5 to 10x.
Thank you. I'm gonna have
Dark
to go.
Horse. Yeah, I have another meeting at 2:30 that I'm late for, but I would just say it sounds like everybody here believes that there's at least 5, maybe 10x potential in this, and that's good enough for people. At least
Me and you
take the
agree.
win.
Me and you agree on most things,
So,
mate,
so
all
you
the
can
time
walk
when we
away,
talk.
and then the people who believe it's going to go to much higher prices after larger adoption will keep a portion of their bag, and maybe they'll have a really good result.
Moonbag,
Maybe
a
not. We'll
moonbag.
have to
I think
see.
Echo the Truth calls them moonbags. He's going to keep a fraction of it. He's going to take his profit and he's going to
Take
keep it back
profit. Take
for
profit.
just in case. Just in case there is, he calls it his moonbag. And fair play to Echo the Truth because he's also a firm believer in
You're
the
telling
10K
me there's a
XRP too.
chance.
So,
Anyways, I
Zach,
gotta run to a meeting. It's been awesome chatting with you
appreciate it.
guys.
Yeah,
To the moon.
Boom. Bye,
appreciate
See you
it,
Christian.
guys.
Zach.
Bye, guys.
It's just me and you, baby. It's just me and you. Great life, bro. Great life. I love it, man. I know, like, are you willing to sell your XRP bag to the bank at $10?
I've always been transparent with my exit strategy. I'm planning on selling 5% of my bag at about $10. I have another 5% at about 20, and then I just plan on leveraging my bag. I'm going to stake it. I'm going to lend it, leverage it. I don't really plan on selling most of my bag.
So this is really positive. If you're in it for the long-term hold and you believe in the utility long-term, I commend you, bro. I've always pushed for the long-term effect in crypto. I don't think people should be looking at bear and bull markets as a way to sell the bottom and buy the top.
Yes.
Unless you're a very highly skilled trader that can forecast the market, I will tell you right now, I don't really care whether or not people are buying theta at 50 cents, and I don't really care if they're buying it at $5. I don't really care if your XRP is being bought at $3 or $10 or whatever. If you see the long-term utility in this space and you want to get a dividend from it, I am praying that the regulations come into play and that this space gets the trillions that you're looking for, Zach. But I'll leave you with that, my friend. I'm glad we can come to consensus and that there will be no price targets of $10,000. Amen. Amen. I bid you good well, Zaki. I wish you and the family the best. Thank you for inviting me on the live. I love you so much, man. Take care, bro.
It's good seeing you. Take care.
Wow. He's a character.
Hey Zach, this is Weeble.
Weeble, welcome.
Hey,
Man, I requested a long time ago, and lots of my questions were answered throughout that. So man, I just wanted to say, hey, it's nice to meet you. Finally, been watching you since you joined TikTok, and that was an awesome live, dude. I'm gonna get off. I'm at work, but I listened to every bit of that. I love to see you and Dark Horse talk it out like that. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, this was a much more positive session for sure. I think it was a much more effective. This is why I like to do stuff like this. I haven't done a TikTok live like this in a long time. So yeah, I thought it was positive.
This was great. I'm a family man like you, Miss Crypto Rican. You will be getting a follow from me.
Thank you so much,
You are
Weaver.
very wise, and I loved listening to your input as well. But killer live, guys. I'm going back to work now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Later.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. Yeah, I actually watched when, like a couple of days ago, when you guys were discussing and everything, it seemed like they were calling us dumb XRP army. And I'm like, seriously? I mean, everybody also has to have personal accountability. We don't tell people what to buy or what not to buy, right? You guys have to do your own research. And that's what crypto is about, is to do your research, decide what is your entry strategy, your exit strategy, and how you're gonna grow, right? How are you going to actually give financial freedom to your family, right?
Yeah.
Because we're just not doing this for the sake of making money, right? It's not for just making money, right? Alone. It's to hold the ideals that we as Americans hold here in the United States, to freedom and liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But you can't do that if you don't have any money, right?
Amen. Amen.
That's why we have businesses, right?
That's right. Hey, Marie, I want to get these other guests
See you later. Thank you, my
chance to.
friend. No problem, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, you can stay on if you want. You don't have to
Oh,
go.
oh,
We
okay.
got
I
plenty
was
of
just
room.
oh, okay, no
On.
problem.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be
Hey,
super
Dante.
quick. I just wanted to drop in and say something here.
Yeah, go
Great
ahead.
live, guys. Very educational, very interesting. I appreciate all the characters coming on here. What I wanted to say is there are some people who are intuitives, and there are some people who are thinkers, right? And I think that there's a lack of communication. People are not understanding each other because some people are going off like hints, these feelings, these which are not saying that they're not valuable. They're very important, right? Intuition is very
Mm-hmm.
important, but there has to be some way to combine the forces of intuition and the like all the numbers and the facts and all all these kinds of things. There has to be some healthy way to put those two together so that all of us, because we're looking to you guys because you guys are very intelligent in the space, to find this healthy medium, the reality, the truth, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
all we really want in the end is truth, and that's what it's all about. And somehow we need to find a way to communicate better, um, and
Yeah.
really hear the important points that everybody's making because each piece is so important. It's wild. That's all I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, I was trying to bring it back to no matter the speculation, the math, all that, like what I have seen is the most amount of partnerships, the most amount of
Mm-hmm.
adoption, and the company that has progressed the furthest in getting banks and financial institutions to adopt cryptocurrency is Ripple. So
Mm-hmm.
I've invested accordingly by most of my crypto bag being XRP. Obviously, it's not my only holding, but that's where it's led me. I think, for me, I've said in the past, and I continue to say that I do think that there is potential for XRP to go. I always say 3, 4, and 5, but is that is that what I'm banking on? No, I mean it's just the world would have to play out perfectly for that scenario to actually play out. It's
Mm-hmm.
very unlikely that we go to levels that high, right? So, for me, at the end of the day, though, I think that sometimes people get too lost in the sauce, like I said, in speculation that we can't confirm one way or another. There's no way to tell. So at a certain
Mm-hmm.
point, you have to go based off of what we can confirm. How should I invest? For me, XRP is my biggest bag.
Mm-hmm.
XLM is my second. XDC is my third. I have a stack of silver. I've been prepping and hoarding not hoarding, but I've been prepping and storing food to ride out a recession. I
You're
focus
hoarding.
most of my time on my businesses, right? So that's where I'm at. Dante, what's
Exactly.
up, brother?
What's up, man? You don't remember me?
Oh,
You were like
you already know I know you, bro.
That's great. That's great.
Hey, Dante.
What's up? Hey, Crypto Rica Hey, Mary, how's it going? Hey, I wanted to ask Zach, what's your thoughts on the Stellar being at Davos? They're speaking at Davos.
Yeah.
They're going to be at the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
speaking. What's your thoughts on that?
Doesn't surprise me. Stellar's always been at the table. Jen McCaleb has ties all the way to the top of the Federal Reserve and some of the banking elite. So for me, like I said, that's the information that I have that I can work with. That's why XLM is my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, it's good.
That's good. Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate you doing this. Haven't seen you do this in a while, so.
Yeah, I've never gotten this many boxes on the screen before. I've always done like dual streams, but I've never really done the guest thing. I want a multipreneur. Do you want to hop on with your question real quick?
Sure. Don't necessarily have a question. I just agree with you guys. Turn on my camera. I've been actually today is my first day live. I've actually watched it from the very beginning. I'm a big XRP and XLM as well, and I think people underrate XLM. And I say if you're going to talk about XRP, you better have some XLM with that as well. And there's been talk about whether or not they're switching to flip the script on us, and have XLM become main. Again, we're always speculating, but I'm not someone that just talks about coins like that publicly. I've always said that. But I think the Davos is kind of interested in what's going on. And I just did a video yesterday about how much, last time we had a shutdown.
You're muted for me, or I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're having issues.
Mic check it real quick.
Yeah.
Do you
He
think?
wasn't. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I had an incoming call like by accident.
Oh, that's
There you
why.
go.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just saying, it's very interesting. I'm watching carefully the Davos thing and how the last time we had a shutdown and the things that happened in between that. And you know, they're making the decision because they're definitely it's about the banks and where money is going to happen and how when you look at the global scale of how things are happening in other countries with CBDC, you know, what is the decision? I think right now that meeting is going to be that core transition for the U.S. What's going to happen, especially for us. So.
I'm sorry, I got a message. I totally missed what your question was or what your statement was.
No, it wasn't a question. It was just basically a statement, a key point. You know, this is just saying that basically there's a lot of things up in the air. And it's hard to make sense of it, you know, and I'm watching Davos right now, what's going on. So thanks for that info that you just, the other gentleman, as it Dante, that just said that. Because, you know, there's a big reason for that, those meetings happening and things that happened after the last time we went through this whole process, you know, all planes shutting down. And it doesn't make sense, but in a sense, it makes sense if we are truly in this panel know what's going to happen in the coming months and years to come.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing I've always looked at is who's actually sitting down at the table that matters. There's a lot of people in crypto. A lot of people have a cute story about what they're going to do, but who's actually sitting down at the table that matters? And that's going to be central banks. That's going to be the largest banks, financial institutions, real businesses, enterprise solutions. You know, going to speak at Davos. Obviously, Stellar's Danelle Dixon went and spoke in front of Congress as well, testifying in front of Congress. That's what we want to see, right? And that's why I've you know, been stacking XRP, XLM. I just got back into XDC too, and those use cases are, you know, problems that are in the trillions of dollars, and they're sitting down at the table with those companies, banks that are actually moving that money too. So for me, that's yeah, that's what it's been all about for me.
Hey, Zach, do you think we're gonna do a settlement in March, or is it just open to when it's gonna happen? It happens.
It's in God's hands, I guess. Yeah, I don't like throwing out the dates anymore. After being here for 2 years in this lawsuit, at this point, I just when it's over, it's over. In my opinion, how it ends is set. You know, XRP is going to be a currency. It's not a security. Worst case scenario, they're able to get Ripple for a slap on the wrist fine for some of those early sales. But the facts of the case tell me that you know, the ending is a for sure. It's a XRP clarity, and Ripple can afford to pay a little fine too, and they'll be just fine. But we are in time for a settlement. So to answer your question, Judge Torres is going to be ruling on the summary judgment motions here in the next few months, most likely, according to the lawyers that are actually watching this case.
So I actually just saw an email blast from the Link 2 for those who are interested in investing in the CIPO, and they actually kind of boasting that, you know, as if it's going to end very soon too. So it is up in the air.
He's getting another phone call.
Yeah, you get another phone call. Prepping Money, what's up?
What's up, brother? Hey, I had a just a neat thought. Maybe it may be fairy tale land, but we talk about the adoptions and the partnerships with the different banks. I have the receipts on that. The panel was full, but I wanted to get on when Parabolic said that. But with Ripple partnering with all these banks across the world, do you think in the future you'll see Ripple in a higher role, using XRP, of course, but do you see them in a higher role, like maybe a Fed 2 or a world central banking giant? Because that is the goal that I'm going for. Because most likely, like, I'm a long-term Ripple investor, but I'm also an option 3 guy. Like, I totally believe it could go to 10K, right there with Echo and the rest of us other crazy XRP guys. But my only thing is that with so many partnering and with 50 billion held in reserves I easily think that I know for a fact that, you know what I'm saying, the other amount of XRP has already been distributed in Europe. It's already been distributed in Asia to different ODL partners. I really think that, you know what I'm saying, the rest of this 50 billion could be possibly distributed after this court case is over to the US and other surrounding partners. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So for many people, they say, oh, the banks would never let this happen. They would never let Ripple get this powerful. They would never let a private entity do this. Well, the Federal Reserve is private, right? The Federal Reserve is a group of international bankers that aren't American. So, yeah, I do think that there is a role. And really the question comes down to is what is going to happen with that escrow? If they get forced to give up the escrow or something crazy happens, then that changes, obviously, the situation. But for me, if Ripple is able to hold on to that escrow, they will be equivalent to an IMF. They will be equivalent to an IMF because what they're sitting on is going to be a reserve currency that's as liquid as a G10 currency, and it can be the bridge currency between all the other currencies, assets, commodities, and anything else of value. So, yeah, I mean, is that set in stone? Is Ripple the new Fed? I'm not going to say that. I think that obviously, the powers that be sued them for a reason. They're attacking Ripple for a reason. JP Morgan launched their own coin for a reason. The Chinese digital yuan is catching up to Ripple's on-demand liquidity, actually. I just had an interesting conversation yesterday with Andy Schechtman, and he's a precious metals guy, but we were talking about the BRICS nations and how they are setting up themselves against the Western countries. And it was interesting because he brought up the fact how the digital yuan has already done $20 billion, give or take, depends on who you check. But it's about $20 billion worth of settlement on the digital yuan. And so it's interesting because I was telling him he's not a crypto guy. So I was like trying to just give him the simplified version. I was like, there's a lot of people in XRP community that think that the SEC is corrupted. Some of them think that it's been corrupted by that country over there that I won't say again. And that's why they've launched this lawsuit against the SEC. And then we see how the digital yuan has been able to catch up. Basically, they've done 20 billion in settlement since 2020 when the digital yuan got launched. And Ripple's on-demand liquidity has done about 30 billion in settlement since 2019. So the digital yuan is catching up. And they actually have gold too, so they can back it by gold. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, if they're able to be able to keep that escrow, then they're going to be positioned to be, as powerful as the Fed, as powerful as some of these supranational entities. If XRP realizes the potential that we talk about, even just part of the potential that we talk about, not even 10K XRP, but just some of that potential. I mean, if they're able to keep the escrow and XRP goes to just $10 or $100, I mean, you guys can do the math on how much that escrow is going to be worth to them.
And what will happen if Ripple becomes a bank? That's the other thing that I was going to say. Because they're, in Wyoming, right? They could become a bank. So how will that change the amount, the number, the speculation of the price of Ripple going up, right? Of them becoming this a private bank, right?
Right. And then with their new product like Liquidity Hub, line of credit, they have made it so easy for banks and financial institutions to get on board. Like they have just made it so easy. And so, and like I said, in that instance, then the customers don't even have to hold XRP. The banks don't even have to hold XRP. So in that sense, yeah, Ripple does become the clearinghouse, the settlement bank. Right? Similar to the BIS, similar to the IMF. So that's where that comparison kind of comes in. Junkyard Pimp, did you got something to ask us here?
Yo, actually, I got pretty much something to say. What's up, Crypto Rican? Ain't seen you in a while.
How you doing, bro?
It's been a minute. One of the things is you guys were talking about, a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. But one of the things that people are not really looking at is that XLM, they're actually proposing the idea of the universal basic income. And I think they're going to be the front runners on actually making that happen, to where they're going to use XLM to pay, a certain amount of people throughout the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. They're going to allow people to receive funds, but it's going to be under the UBI, the Universal Basic Income. And XLM is actually got the blueprint and pretty much parlaying the way on that. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So
yeah, they're really doing some things behind the scenes. They're pretty quiet, and it's hard to keep tabs on Stellar's development. They have been making appearances. Like I said, Danelle Dixon testifying in front of Congress. They're going to go speak at the World Economic Forum. But as far as like the partnerships, obviously they got MoneyGram, and they've been picking up partnerships along the way. But that's something that I've always struggled with is keeping tabs on all of the deals that Stellar's kind of working on. But they're very clear about their focus. Their focus is the underbanked, the unbanked,
exactly,
and
yes.
the more retail level. So yeah, I think that Stellar and XLM is going to be massive.
And XDC. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you guys. I'll listen to the whole show, and I just want to say a few things, but I'll be in touch later. Thank you.
Take care, bro.
Appreciate that.
All right,
if there's anybody else that wants to hop up, I'll take a couple more guest appearances before I wrap up this session. Prep and Money, did you have anything else?
No, man, I'm going to jump off. Thank you so much, Zach.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We got another one right here. Welcome.
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Doing good. You're very quiet, though.
How you doing, Money Talk?
I'm very soft-spoken, apparently, I've been told. I just wanted to honestly salute you. This whole week has been a big one, and I feel like you have stayed very professional with everything. And honestly, like, I have a lot of respect for you after this week. That's all I have to say. And as far as, they were mentioning Stellar being at the World Economic Forum next week, and you guys have to really pay attention to all the global entities, because Stellar, Kronos, Ripple, you name it, they have all been involved with these entities from the beginning. And if you guys look up even the World Government Summit, which happens every year as well, they're all there every single year. And usually when this is going on, there's huge distractions going on so that the population doesn't even know these events are going on. Same thing with last week we had the consumer show, and a lot of people were not paying attention. The whole consumer show was about cryptocurrencies, policies in DC, the metaverse. And again, every time any of these events are happening, which are normally anywhere from 3 days to a week long, you have huge distractions. And the public doesn't engage. They don't care about these events. The news will never report anything on them. So you have to start paying attention and making sure you guys live stream these shows and do research on all these companies, because the more independent learning you do, the better you will be in this space. For the most part, everyone, just speculates and gives you an idea, but you have to look at the data, and that's what's going to make you successful in this space. And that's about it. Thank you, Zach. Again, much respect for you. You have handled everything very professionally, and it's been a lot, but I just wanted to say that, and I'll be getting off.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And to add
really
to Money
appreciate that.
Talks, because Money Talks kind of like said a lot of what I wanted to say. I kind of followed you, unfollowed you, and after this week, I refollowed you, to be honest. I kind of think that, the amount of attack that you've received just by speaking, I don't even want to say your opinion, just you have logic behind it. There's facts, figures, all that behind it. So it's kind of like, it's kind of tough to speak to an audience that just don't want to hear your voice. Because last I checked, you're a human being. You put on your clothes the same way that I do, and everybody else does. You know what I mean? So your opinion matters just as much as mine does, just as much as, like, for example, Dark Horse and whoever else. You know what I mean? It's just everybody's voice matters. You know what I mean? Your logic and mine compared and shared is of value to someone else listening. You know what I mean? And it has to always remain that. So always keep speaking. And keep allowing people like us, I guess, once in a while to come on in. But keep speaking, though, because at the end of the day, we're going to be forced to shut up. And until that day happens, I think that all this stuff is value information that needs to be shared,
I appreciate that, and thank you for the follow. Yeah, I know. I felt like today was a lot more productive. This kind of like lifted my spirits that we were able to have kind of a more productive conversation today. I am going to have to run though. Your resonance, I'm gonna take you last. I saw there's another guest request there from Mia there.
All right,
Sorry.
thanks again, Zach.
Yeah.
Hey, we're friends
Thank,
again, bro.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye, Joseph.
You got it. I see you. Oh yeah, I'm gonna follow you too. Wait a minute, Crypto Rican. Wait a minute, I'm gonna do that now before I go.
Zach, first, thank you so. First, Zach, thank you so
You guys
much
be well. Take care.
for inviting me. It was a great live, and I hope we can do this more. That we can see people coming together that has different opinions, because that is how we are bouncing our own ideas and reaching clarity. And another thing that you mentioned liquidity value. You said you coined that, or was that correct?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I came in a little bit late when you talked about that. So could you just do a quick recap about how you define it and why it is important?
Yeah, so basically it really applies to coins where their primary use case is liquidity. So you're looking at coins like XRP, XLM, XDC, and there's plenty of others that you could determine this for as well. But it's a different calculation than market cap. Market cap is the amount of tokens by the price equals your market cap value. Liquidity value is how much do you need to settle on a daily basis? For instance, Swift settles $6 trillion daily. How many coins do you have to use to settle that liquidity? How often can you recycle those coins? For XRP, it's every 3 seconds. You could use the same XRP. Then the next variable missing would be your price. So the supply, how quickly can you revolve it by that price, will give you that liquidity value, which in the case of Swift, they need to settle $6 trillion daily. In the case of ACI worldwide, they settle $14 trillion daily. So between two networks right there, you got $20 trillion in settlement on a daily basis, and people are trying to basically restrict the understanding of XRP's value based off of an old metric for market cap calculation that doesn't apply to payment liquidity infrastructure. So I hope that answers your question.
So what's the, if we're going to put it up mathematically, what's the mathematic formula for the liquidity value? How would you write it out, you mean? And do you interpret that as the amount of value that is circulating within that network, or am I?
Yes. Yeah. For example, you could figure it out for Ripple's on-demand liquidity by figuring out how much XRP supply they have, how quickly you can turn over that supply on a daily basis, right? And then you determine what the price is at. That gives you the amount of on-demand liquidity you would have just within Ripple's ODL. That doesn't include the rest of XRP trading. So like people see XRP's trading volume is $2 billion daily or whatever it's been at for the last couple of years. That's different from the liquidity value. That's just the trading that's happening with the token. The liquidity value calculation comes in when you're figuring out how much can Ripple's on-demand liquidity settle, right? And so as far as the equation, how would you do it? You would take the supply times that by how quickly you can turn it over. That would give you the amount of transactions that can be done by how quickly you can turn it over. That would give you the amount of transactions that can be done. You would times that by the price. That would give you your liquidity value.
All right.
What is your liquidity value then? Is it 10,000? Is that the 10,000 that you say? Is that where the 10,000 comes?
Well, basically, you would get to higher prices because there's not that much supply. Like, this is what I'm talking about, where people are getting, we don't have enough information to come up with all of the variables for that equation, because Ripple has 50 billion in escrow. We know that they have probably a few billion released that they're just sitting in their wallets. And let's just say, for sake of argument, that they have 10 billion for on-demand liquidity, right? It would be that supply times how quickly they can turn it over times the price would be that liquidity value. And if the supply is limited, they need a higher price. So that's where the higher price comes in. But there, like I said, at this point, it's kind of just us playing with the numbers and speculation because there's just so many unknowns when trying to figure out all of those variables.
So you have the retail
Right.
and the institutional together, or this is just institutional? Your liquidity value just only applies to institutional, or retail and institutional together?
Well, when I'm trying to calculate the liquidity value, you would basically figure out who's actually using it for liquidity. So, and then you would have additional upward price pressure based off of us using it too. So you would come back to add them together, right? But for example, let me just run through a hypothetical scenario. If Swift wanted to settle the $6 trillion daily all on XRP exclusively, they would then go backwards from that number to figure out what price they needed and how much of the token they needed. So they would say, we need 5 billion XRP because we can turn it over this quickly and we need it to be at this price. So this is where the speculation comes into XRP being at a set price, is because these institutions would need it to be at a certain price, or they would need a certain amount of tokens. And we know there's a limited supply of tokens, right? So then that's where a set price would be needed so that they could have the liquidity value within Swift could equal $6 trillion daily. That would be separate from everything else that's being done on the XRP ledger. That would be separate from me building on the XRP ledger, building an NFT on it, right? But all of that just adds more value to the price. And we're using the same XRP that Ripple's going to use for on-demand liquidity. And so it's the same XRP.
Wow. So now I understand. So basically there's just no, right, it's just so much value and utility that for moving so much money that it can be, we might just be lowballing it, I guess, right?
Well, like I said, that's where I don't feel like we have the enough information to put in the inputs. You know, we can run through hypothetical scenarios till the sun comes up tomorrow. Oh, if we get 10% of Swift, if we get 100% of Swift, if we get 100% of the derivatives market, you can do hypothetical equations till the sun comes up. At this point, though, you know, for me, it ain't going to be a 35-cent coin forever. And that's, you know, that's the punchline, is that it's not going to be a 35-cent coin forever. And we better take advantage of it while we can, I guess.
Wow.
Do Ripple have synonymous terminology for liquidity value when they talk about it?
They have a what?
Do they have a synonymous terminology for when you talk about liquidity value? When they describe the transaction?
Yeah, I don't know what they call it. They just talk about basically providing liquidity and payments being their main focus, right? And then, like I said, the numbers that we have so far is that since 2019, 30 billion has been settled on on-demand liquidity, which settles with XRP. That is nothing compared to what actually gets settled on a daily basis in the current system. So, like I said, we've only settled $30 billion total in like 3 years. These networks are settling $20 trillion daily plus. So there's a discrepancy there. That's what we call an opportunity, right? Do we have to get all of it to have life-changing gains? I don't think so. I think even if we're 10% right, we go to a very attractive price, right? But guys, I do got to run. I gotta end this session. But I appreciate you guys for hopping on here.
Thank you so much, Zach.
It's a pleasure meeting you, Marie, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
God bless all you guys on TikTok. Thank you. I was glad that we were able to have a productive session here today. This was a good one. Post this one up on YouTube for everyone to watch after the fact. If you guys missed this session, I'll post it up on my YouTube, and you guys can watch it there. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. God bless all of you. We'll see ya.